going. The 3-2 to Winfield. Down the line, a big hit into the left field corner. Whitehead scored. Alomar comes around. The ball gets away from Gant. It's a 2-run double for Dave Winfield. And a 4-2 Toronto lead. Kimlin. Nixon bunt. Kimlin on it. Throws to first. For the first time in history, the World Championship banner will fly north of the border. The Toronto Blue Jays are baseball's best in 1992.
And the celebration was on, not only in Atlanta, but in Toronto and at the Sky Dome. The largest living room in the nation on that night. 45,000 people packed the joint to watch it on the Jumbotron. And this morning, thousands of people lining up to come inside to a reception to welcome the 1992 World Series champion, Toronto Blue Jays. They have closed the doors. Thousands of people lining the parade route in downtown Toronto, and thousands more, about 52,000 to be exact, inside to welcome the Jays. Welcome to the Parade of Champions, live on TSN. Again, everybody, I'm Paul Romanuk. Amazing. What more can you say? It has been said that those who dream most do most, and sports fans in this country, and in Toronto in particular, because it is the Toronto Blue Jays, have dreamed of a World Series champion for years and years, and they have taken full advantage by doing a heck of a lot in the way of partying since the Blue Jays won the World Championship on Saturday. It has been absolutely amazing. The party has been virtually nonstop. It started right here at the Sky Dome, and in that sense, things coming the complete circle with this broadcast. The nation started the celebration here as they watched it live on television on the Jumbotron, and they will conclude it, in a manner of speaking, by welcoming the Blue Jays to the Sky Dome. And of local interest, just in case you were wondering, here is the parade route through downtown Toronto. Starts at the historic Royal York Hotel and ends up at the Sky Dome. Gino Reda is out along the parade route somewhere. We'll get to him in a little while. Joining me now, Teresa Hergert and Michael Landsberg in a cast of about 52,000. Teresa, I know you were in Calgary when the Flames won the Stanley Cup, and I'm just wondering, how does it compare? Is it any comparison, the celebration?
Well, it was, again, very much the same type of the same situation. The Calgary Flames weren't at home. They were in Montreal. So myself and the rest of the city were in the downtown streets of Calgary watching it on monitors on Electric Avenue when the Flames finally won the Stanley Cup back in 1989. And really, it was the same type of thing as what we experienced here Saturday night in the Sky Dome. Well, you know, when you got right down to it, I think a lot of fans felt it didn't matter where it would happen, just as long as it did happen, and no matter where you were, right across Canada, everybody was celebrating the Toronto Blue Jays win.
What was that again?
Yeah, really.
The mix that you're hearing through your television probably doesn't do the noise that's going on here justice. It is absolutely incredible. One of the big memories I thought back to when the Jays won it all was of a snowy day in 1977 when the Jays made their entrance into the American League. I was watching that game on TV. Michael Landsberg, you were there live, and I know you've talked about how much that meant to you.
Yeah, I was there live back in 1977, and I think the question that many people are asking was, do we remember what we were thinking back then? Did we figure that this would ever happen? I don't even think we thought about a World Series back then. It seems so far away, but I guess what this proves is the key decisions that the Toronto Blue Jays made back in 1977 were the right ones. Number one, appointing Pat Gillick as vice president and general manager. He has run the team since then, and this is proof positive that he's the best guy in the business right there. But 1977 sure seems like a long time ago. And you're right, you know, I was trying to listen to Teresa Hergert. Unfortunately, I'm not very good at lip reading. Didn't hear a word you said, Teresa.
I know the remarkable thing about all this is not only has it been a huge party in Toronto, the celebration, it's gone on from British Columbia to Newfoundland. It's been right across the country. Has that surprised you?
I don't think so at all. On Saturday night, we saw that they were partying down Portage in Maine and Winnipeg. They were out on the streets in Calgary on Electric Avenue once again. We saw that they were out in full numbers out in Vancouver, Edmonton. Like you said, right across to Newfoundland, they were celebrating.
Well, I guess what this proves is, and you kind of got the sense all along that it was somewhat a national thing, but as the playoffs approached and we heard stories about CBS not wanting a Canadian team in there, it very much became a we versus them. People in Canada not just looking at it as the Toronto Blue Jays, but as our team against their team. And clearly, if the Montreal Expos were in it, we would probably feel the same way. But in this instance, it was the Toronto Blue Jays, and it kind of added to the flavor, that feeling that, yeah, people all across the country were celebrating, as you saw after the game Saturday night.
All right, this is going to be a lot of fun. The majority of the party will be right here in the Sky Dome, but as I mentioned earlier, thousands are lining the streets in downtown Toronto for the Victory Parade. In amongst the masses, TSN's Gino Reda.
Thanks very much, Paul. Quite the carnival atmosphere down here. You know, the weather has cleared up very nicely. A couple hours ago, it was just pouring rain. Looked like the parade may even have to be canceled. The temperature right around then was about 7 degrees Celsius. It's cleared up nicely. A little bit cloudy. Still a little bit cool, but as you can see, it has not scared the people away at all. You know what? I've got to believe that every grade school, every high school in the entire city of Toronto has got to be closed because all the students are right here to celebrate with the Toronto Blue Jays. A lot of businessmen also celebrating with the Toronto Blue Jays here, booking off their lunch hour, disappearing. They may not be back at the office this afternoon. And there are some people who are just kind of lost in the crowd wondering what the heck is going on. They just want to join the party. It's a party that began when the Blue Jays won the World Series a couple of days ago, and it just goes on and on. You know, all kinds of paraphernalia is on sale here. As one of the lead buses makes its way across, I'm a little concerned about my safety with the fans. I'm concerned about getting run over as well. One of the most popular signs down here is the We're Fonda RJs. And on the back, a nice little picture of our friend Jane Fonda with a Blue Jay logo on her cheek. It is an unbelievable atmosphere down here. The Blue Jays probably about 20 minutes away from getting down to us here. And it really is, as I say, a carnival atmosphere. T-shirts on sale, all kinds of stuff. We'll show you that a little later on. We'll talk to some of the people down here a little later on. But for right now, let's go back upstairs to the safe confines of the Skybox from Paul Romanek.
All right, and the tough thing about Jane Fonda, I guess, is that some of the Blue Jays have had bigger hits than she has the last little while. All right, we'll be covering the last little bit of the parade as well as the reception here. And here is where the story was the other night, almost as much as Atlanta. One of the big memories I'll have of this championship was sitting in with 45,000 others, watching the whole thing on TV. It was amazing.
Thousands of anxious Blue Jay fans began to arrive outside the Sky Dome as early as 6 hours before game time. In fact, over 45,000 people showed up to watch the game on Sky Dome's Jumbotron. And what a game they saw.
Baseball's best in 1992. I'm ecstatic more than anything. For Dave, coming to the big hit, and for Cito, man. I mean, he's a hell of a guy, and he finally gets what he deserves, baby. Thank you. He's the best man, yes.
was screaming a little bit tonight. At the end of the game, I usually don't raise my voice too much, but tonight I screamed a little bit.
We told you, they had a lot of character. It wasn't the team that you saw in the past. We overcame all odds, the culmination of a great year.
And this is live along the parade route in downtown Toronto. It is just departing the Royal York Hotel in the downtown core of the city. It will be winding its way through. We will pick up the last portion of the parade. They should be at the Sky Dome in about another 15 or 20 minutes. Here again is Gino Reda.
Thanks very much, Paul. You know, when you look back on the festivities of World Series 92 of the Toronto Blue Jays, one thing that stands out is the fact that it has been such a pleasant celebration and a safe one. It has been excited, but much of the credit for that goes to our Metropolitan Toronto Police Force. And joining me now from the Metropolitan Toronto Police is Inspector Gilbert. Inspector, can you tell us a little bit about what has gone on behind the scenes to prepare for this?
Well, a great deal of work by planning staff in order to get enough personnel here to provide a good level of public safety, at the same time allowing the good fans that are here a chance to see their Blue Jays up close.
I'm protecting a police officer now, trying to keep them away from you. How many police officers would you say are involved in today's parade?
In this particular area around the Dome, there's about 80 or 90 on the outside, and about an equal number back inside as well.
Now, obviously, the celebration after the World Series on Saturday night been very well. Were you surprised at how well it went on?
Not really. We had a good experience with the American League Championship, and the fans just got out there and had a great time. And we expected the same, only greater, on that night, and that's what we had.
They certainly are having a good time. I guess one of the key facts is the fact that you've been able to keep the parade route over a very small area, which gives you an ability to really focus your efforts as a police force.
As you can well feel from the people behind you, that's quite true. It makes it easier for us as staff, and at the same time, we can still service the rest of the city with the various needs they have.
Inspector, I think we're going to have to throw it back upstairs to Paul before we have to call in the reinforcements ourselves. Thanks a lot for joining us.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Inspector Gilbert of the Metropolitan Toronto Police Force. Let's go back up to Paul Romanek, and I hope you're not having this much trouble upstairs, Paul.
There is no beast as wild as unbridled celebration. And let me tell you, the reins are off. We'll be right back.
Some say the Mississippi Delta is the home of the blues.
Well, I'm going down the road and stop at Fannie Mae.
Others say Chicago.
I'm going to tell Fannie what I heard. A boyfriend says, don't start me talking. I'll tell everything.
But really, you'll find some cool blues right in your own
I'm going to
backyard.
break up this signal.
Honest and true. You bet it's blue.
Got to go.
Travelers 50 and over save 30% at choice hotels like Quality, Comfort, Clarion, and Sleep.
After a life like
Time
mine.
out, Evil. Travelers 50 and over also get a free coupon book worth over $1,000 at places like Alamo Rent-A-Car, Red Lobster, and theme parks. Okay, Evil, from the top.
After a life like mine, that's about the biggest thrill I could take.
Save 30% if you're 50 or over and get a free coupon book. Call 1-800-4CHOICE and reserve your room today.
Any major purchase involves a leap of faith. Buy a Nissan and it doesn't have to. You're protected by the Nissan Satisfaction Commitment. The most comprehensive customer care program in Canada. It comes at no extra cost and has no deductibles. Because at Nissan, we believe warranties should protect the people who drive the cars, not the people who make them. Nissan, built for the human race.
You know, there's real magic in Diet Pepsi. It's got that special aha ingredient. You got the right one, baby. Okay, girls. Now, what's that magic ingredient?
With 100% uh-huh.
The Parade of Champions live on TSN. Brought to you by Labatt Blue, honest and true. You bet it's blue. Nissan, built for the human race. By Choice Hotels, who congratulate the Jays on their historic World Championship. Your local bottler of Diet Pepsi and caffeine-free Diet Pepsi. Diet Pepsi, you got the right one, baby. Uh-huh. And right on, as the celebration continues inside the Skydome, we were just talking before we came back about what a remarkable sight this is here.
It is absolutely electric in here. We hear that they started lining up last night at 11 o'clock just so that they could be the first ones in here. I remember on Saturday night, this place was absolutely empty. We were getting ready for our pregame Baseball Tonight show. And all of a sudden, they opened the doors, and it was this huge roar that built and built and built. And I came running out of the dugout to take a look at this scene, and there were people just streaming down, trying to get the best seats in this place. The same thing happened today. There is lots of fans here. Every available seat has been filled, and they have had to shut the doors.
Well, you know, they've been lining up since 6 o'clock this morning, and Michael, again, I know you've been to a few civic receptions for Grey Cup champions. Any comparison at all?
I think there is very much a comparison on the energy and the enthusiasm, just no comparison in terms of the size. I mean, the scene that we're seeing here is really remarkable. Very much what you're seeing at home, the people here are seeing on the Jumbotron. And every time a shot of Dave Winfield comes up on the Jumbotron, the crowd goes crazy. Every time it's Joe Carter, they go crazy. And when it's an Atlanta Brave, they don't. They've actually relived the game. It was broadcast here earlier, and they've gone through all the highlights. So just the scene here, remarkable, the energy, the enthusiasm. It really is a very special time for anybody that's followed the Blue Jays or sports in general.
When you talk to any of the Toronto Blue Jays, they tell you about a three-part plan they started the season with. Goal number one, of course, was to win the American League East. Goal number two was to win the American League pennant, something that had eluded them in the past. A roadblock was thrown up in 1989 by the Bash brothers, the Oakland A's. They were knocked out of the way this time around. And game one of the American League Championship Series starting with a bang. As a matter of fact, there were several bangs. As the Jays and the A's combined for 5 home runs in the night. Harold Baines hit the last one, and it proved to be the game winner. Toronto lost game 1 4-3. The Blue Jays evening the series in game 2 courtesy of several big plays. With the game scoreless in the 5th, the A's tried the double steal. David Cohn's pitch in the dirt. For a while, it looked like Willie Wilson scored to give the A's the lead, but because Pat Borders didn't touch the ball on the way to the dugout, the runners awarded only 1 base. Cohn made the most of his second chance by striking out Walt Weiss and Ricky Henderson to end the inning. The Blue Jays carried the momentum into the bottom of the inning. Kelly Gruber's 2-run home run off of Mike Moore, all the offense Toronto would need. Candy Maldonado, meanwhile, taking care of defense, gunning down Walt Weiss at third, breaks up a late Oakland rally. Game 2 going to the Jays, the series moving to Oakland, tied at 1. The bright sunshine of Northern California didn't seem to bother the Blue Jays, but the A's played like little leaguers. Carney Lansford booting a grounder, Lance Blankenship kicking around 2 others. The miscues leading to 3 unearned runs for Toronto. Some questionable base running also taking the A's out of a potential big inning. Rene Latchman trying to score Mark McGuire on this shallow fly ball, but Joe Carter easily turns it into a double play. The Jays capitalized on all the errors for a 7-5 win and a 2-1 series lead. The turning point in the series, Game 4. The A's leading 6-4 in the 8th inning. Dennis Eckersley striking out Ed Sprague, and his reaction got the Jays riled up. They turned the tables in the 9th. Roberto Alomar's 2-run home run off of Eckersley, capping off a remarkable Toronto comeback, tying the game at 6. Then, in the 11th inning, Pat Borders brought home Derek Bell with what proved to be the winning run. A back-breaking loss for the A's and a huge morale booster for Toronto. They led the series 3-1. But no clinching party for the Jays in Oakland. Dave Stewart delivering another sparkling performance. The A's battering Jack Morris for the second time in the series. Final score 6-2 for Oakland. You knew it wasn't going to be Oakland's day in Game 6, though, when Ricky Henderson bobbled Devon White's leadoff fly ball. That set the tone. It was a costly mistake because Joe Carter followed up with a 2-run homer. Toronto built a 7-0 lead, and that was more than enough for Juan Guzman. A sharp breaking slider had the A's swinging at the air. Guzman had 8 strikeouts in 7 innings. Tom Henke came on in the 9th inning with a 9-2 lead and nailed it down for Toronto's first ever American League pennant. And this is the parade route, which was somewhat delayed in getting started, as I'm sure you can appreciate. And just take a close look in case you don't believe me. Thousands continue to pour into the downtown core of Toronto to take part in the celebration. So the parade a little bit slow in starting, but it is winding its way towards the Sky Dome, and then the party will really be underway. And as you can see, the parade just starting to come to within range of our cameras. Let's go now to Michael Landsberg and Teresa Herger.
Scene here in the Sky Dome. As we were watching that highlight package together, the crowd was virtually getting into every hit. As soon as Dennis Eckersley's picture came up on the screen, they booed in the last out. Candy Maldonado putting it away, they cheered. So really a very energetic crowd, even still getting into each and every highlight.
Well, they were led into the Sky Dome at about 10 o'clock this morning, so they had to do something to entertain these people, and what better than highlights of the game? Well,
here's a look at the start of the parade. The 48th Highlanders leading the way, and there's in car number 1, B.J. Birdie, fitting. He's been the Jays' big cheerleader all throughout the years, and there he is leading the way for the Blue Jay parade. The Jays making their way around the Skydome. We'll see them when they come in, but right now our man on the scene who's in the crowd is Gino Reda, and let's go to Gene right now. Well, we apologize for the technical difficulty that we have hearing what Gene is saying. You probably have an idea what the people behind Gene were saying, and that is, Jays, way to go, Jays. I mean, this is just a crowd that's good-natured. There's just a great feeling here. Therese, when you consider all of the crowds that have gathered from early Sunday morning, 500,000 people in downtown Toronto, how well-behaved they've been, that's outstanding. As you look at the second car, making their way, that's Jeff Ross on the right, I believe. Actually, that's Tommy Craig, the trainer, and his assistant, Brent Andrews, the assistant trainer.
And, of course, no team is anywhere without their trainers. You know, we're going to be seeing quite a few of that behind-the-scenes staff, a lot of the coaches. And, of course, B.J. Birdie leading it off.
And, of course, much of the crowd still making their way through the streets of Toronto, lining up and getting set to just catch a glimpse of their Toronto Blue Jays.
Now, you were talking earlier about the crowds and how well behaved they've been. I paid a visit down to the police when we were getting ready for the Game 6, and what they were planning there. Should there be a celebration? And, of course, there was. And also what they were doing for the parade. They said that safety came first, but they were not anticipating any riots, any vandalism. And as we saw, really everybody was very, very well behaved and no major incidents to report. And I think that's a credit to the people of the city.
Absolutely, and when you consider parades of a similar nature in other cities in the United States, it really speaks volumes for the difference in a lot of ways between Toronto, a major city, huge in size, and some of the cities in the United States. People just happy and enjoying it the way they should. That's a good shot. I believe our camera is here around the Sky Dome, so you can see the parade making its way right now towards the Sky Dome as 50,000 people wait inside for the Blue Jays to make their final appearance of the season.
I'll tell you, it's gotten quite quiet. Oh, they're starting to build now as they're starting to watch this on the Jumbotron. And here's a look at Jack Morris and his friend as they make their way along the parade route.
And that's Mark Eichhorn in beside him. Jack Morris, of course, the second straight year that he has been involved in the Victory Parade as well. A little bit different this time, but still Morris able to enjoy and reflect back on his contribution during the regular season, which was, of course, 21 victories.
Well, Minnesota, he was Minnesota's MVP last year in the World Series. As you mentioned it, I'm sure Jack Morris would have liked to have a better postseason, but like you said, 21 wins, and he was really one of the reasons why the Jays were even into the postseason at all.
Perhaps he had the line of the World Series, which was after his final appearance, he said, hey, we can't lose, I don't pitch again. So able to smile and reflect back on the postseason.
And keep his sense of humor, of course. There is Tom Henke.
Tom Henke and David Cohn beside him as well. Two key contributors for the Blue Jays, two players that performed in game number 6. Cone went 6 strong innings, giving up just the 1 run. Tom Henke would have liked to have closed it out the way he has in the past, but no one can claim that Henke was not a key contributor for this Toronto Blue Jay team, not just over the course of this season, but way back since 1985 when the Blue Jays made their first appearance in the American League Championship Series. David Cone actually was not here earlier this morning. We weren't sure whether he would make an appearance, but as you can say, Cone is here, and I know all of these Blue Jay fans hope that come next April, he'll be here as well.
Of course, Cone 2 for 2 at the plate during World Series. Started the game. The Jays won at 5-4 in Game 2. Of course, that game highlighted by Ed Sprague's 2-run homer that won the game. And it's good to see David here. Like you were saying, we weren't expecting him here to be at the parade. It's nice to see him in the car along with Tom Henke.
Tom Henke and David Cone, two big reasons why the Blue Jays are 1992 World Series champions. You can see Jimmy Key in the top right. You can see a number of the key front office staff for the Toronto Blue Jays. And you can see the main man of the World Series, 1992 MVP, Pat Borders, sitting with Todd Stottlemyre. And let's look back at some of what Borders did. Now, 650 people in the Evergreen, they tell us. That one's heading for Evergreen. Deep to left field, near the pole, and a home run. Pat Borders puts the Blue Jays on the board with a home run off Tom Glavine, just fair down the left field line. It's 1-0 Toronto. Well, you hear the cheers, but those cheers aren't coming from the tape. They're coming from live inside the Skydome, so they're still cheering Pat Borders, and he and the Toronto Blue Jay teammates are making their way indoors to the Skydome. That's a live shot. There is not a single seat available. They closed the doors just a short time ago, and you can see it says 1992 World Series, you bet. And this guy, Pat Borders, one of the key reasons why the Blue Jays are champions, and what an unlikely contributor it was for Pat Borders. Yeah, he's shown some spark at the plate, but never what he showed in the 1992 American League Championship Series and the World Series.
Well, in the World Series, Game 4, a homer in the 3rd, an RBI single in the 7th. The Jays, of course, won that game 2-1. Then in Game 5, 2 hits, both brought in runs. But the Braves, unfortunately, won that game 7-2.
You know what I'm enjoying on that shot, Teresa? And that's the smile that we saw from Pat Borders. He's so businesslike, and you can still see him just above Tom Henke there. He's so businesslike, he's so focused that he very seldom allows himself to relax enough to give a smile like that.
Well, Pat Borders is a very, very intense man. And whenever you go up to him to talk, about the season and everything like that, Pat Borders very, very intense, but like you say, it's nice to see him lighten up and enjoy this today.
Well, two performers from game number 6 on the left. Your camera left, that's David Wells. On the right, I believe that's Mike Timlin. And Mike Timlin didn't figure into the Blue Jay plans in the postseason in a lot of ways. We didn't figure that he would be the guy making the final out, but he came in, got a strike on Otis Nixon, and then, shall we say, induced him to bunt directly back to him, and he made the now historic flip to first base. Mike Timlin and David Wells. You know, Therese, interesting performance by Wells, the fact that he really wasn't a factor over the last month and a half of the season, but there, when Cito Gaston needed him, he came up with several key contributions.
Well, what more can you say about the Jays bullpen? They were there when they were called upon, and they answered the call. Todd Stottlemyre had a great comment. He said, I'll carry the bats if I have to, just as long as I'm here in the World Series, and I'm sure Mike Timlin and David Wells feeling the same way.
Also, David Wells, you know, he faced a tough right-hander in Ron Gant. That was a key point in the game. Would they leave him in to face him? Cito left him in, and Wells retired Ron Gant to end the 7th inning and set up the situation which we now know exists, and which is the Blue Jays are World Series champions. You see many of the, well, there's Kelly Gruber there with one finger up into the air. Yes, we're number 1. And certainly Kelly Gruber didn't have the big numbers in terms of average, but he had a couple of key blows, including this one in Game 3 where he broke out of the slump. A walk to Gruber in the 5th, the only walk thrown by Avery tonight. Payoff pitch. Well hit down the left field line. Sanders watching it go. Home run, Kelly Gruber. Within a single postseason in history. A game-tying home run. This one is knotted at 2. various blends of the Skydome. That was the Skydome for Kelly Gruber's home run, and this is a live shot at the Skydome as these fans are every bit as enthusiastic now, but Therese just a lot more relaxed because they know it's in the bag.
Well, obviously, I think the excitement is building here. I think people are saying, all right, we sat here long enough. Let's bring these cars in. The opening of few cars should be coming in here very shortly. There's Kelly Gruber beside him, his wife, Lynn. He's holding his son, Cody. They just had a new little one this year, but imagine a little too cold to bring him out today.
And there's the man leading the parade, B.J. Birdie. And doesn't that symbolize about what this World Series in a lot of ways is about? A right-side-up Canadian flag held by the Blue Jay mascot, who has led the cheers all throughout the years. He led them when there wasn't a whole lot to cheer about, and he leads them now when it seems like every year there is something to cheer about, but no year more than this. As the parade, you can see why it's moving so slowly. The street virtually filled with people, and this is a look on the inside. And, well, perhaps even more fitting than Blue Jays on the bottom of the soles would be Atlanta Braves.
Well, you know, not the best day to have a parade. It's gray. They were hoping it was going to be sunny and about 11 degrees Celsius, but it started to rain earlier this morning, thank goodness. I don't think it's raining out there right now. All the fans in here in the Skydome enjoying the warm confines of this facility and anxiously awaiting these early cars to come in here, but as we saw, it seems to be a little plugged up out there.
And there's John Olerud, and doesn't he in a lot of ways typify the way this team has changed? Back in 1989, when the Blue Jays clinched against the Baltimore Orioles, he was a first-year player, very inexperienced. Everyone said he had the potential to do big things. And it wasn't until this year that I think people started to realize that the scouts were right on. He is an outstanding hitter who can do so much at the plate and in the field. And John Olerud, and that was about as big a smile as you get from John Olerud as well.
Well, you know, Olerud went right from university ball right into the majors. He owns that record book at Washington State. He's been described as having a perfect swing. And we saw that in this World Series this year. Well,
he may not have the perfect swing, but he at least had one. Ed Sprague, game number 2. And if he doesn't hit a 2-run home run off Jeff Reardon, the Blue Jays might very well not be parading right now. This parade might be in Atlanta. Sprague turned around the series in such incredible dramatic fashion.
It really was dramatic. Sitting beside him, his wife, Kristen Babb Sprague, of course, the Olympic gold medalist in synchronized swimming. And we saw that she was there in Atlanta offering her support to her husband. And really, you're right, that was a heck of a home run. Absolutely turned everything around.
Well, the Blue Jays know that if they had lost the first 2 games in Atlanta, their situation would have been much more difficult, but they didn't. And it came from a most unlikely source in Ed Sprague, a 2-run pinch hit home run to change what looked like a sure loss into what was a victory after Tom Henke was done saving it. So the Blue Jays turned around in Atlanta, came back and won 2 out of 3. And, well, if there has ever been a more unlikely hero, I don't know whether there has been one than Ed Sprague. As you look at Peter Widrington, the man that now runs the Toronto Blue Jays, and he was there sitting with Pat Gillick in Atlanta, hanging on every pitch. The 48th Highlanders stalled a little bit, Therese, because of the huge mob. It's difficult to make their way through the streets.
I don't know whether we're going to be able to get this parade inside the Skydome if they don't start moving things along now. I know that the police, they designed the parade route. I know some of the city officials would have liked to have seen it go down Bay Street, but really it was just too tiny. Right now we are looking at Manny Lee along with Alfredo Griffin and their wives.
Therese, I don't know if the people at home have the benefit of hearing the cheers that are going on right now. The people at the Skydome are seeing the same shot you are at home are seeing. And the cheer that Manny Lee just received really exemplifies the turnaround in his career. He wasn't getting cheers last year at this time. Now he is. Now people recognize that he was a big contributor for the Blue Jays.
Well, a lot of questions about Manny Lee at the start of this season, and in fact, he was so angry at the media that he was not speaking to them. I think he might have changed that now.
Absolutely, and on this day, everybody talks, and there's a very happy man, Jimmy Key, and there's Alfredo Griffin, who didn't play much of a role throughout most of the season, but when Manny Lee had a sore knee, he stepped in like the veteran that he is, having won a World Series with the Dodgers, and the Jays didn't miss a beat with Alfredo Griffin, particularly on the field, and Jimmy Key, boy, you never knew whether he would even see the field in the postseason. Didn't play, at least start a game against the Oakland Athletics, but he comes in, starts that big performance in game number 4 for the Blue Jays, and then there he is. He pops up again in game 6.
Well, joining him in the car is his wife, Cindy. And you know, like you said, it was so great to see Jimmy Key in a game 4 situation. He's been with Toronto since 1984. And I think a lot of people that have followed this team were really glad to see him in there and being able to contribute because he had all year long, and it was great to see him start.
Well, Jimmy Key, I think, really shows you what winning a World Series is all about. He struggled over the first half of the season to the point where there was talk of taking him out of the rotation, but you don't win the World Series in April, May, and June. You win them in September to get there, and then in October, and when the Jays were on the line, when they needed Key, he delivered. And there are two guys that delivered as well, Juan Guzman and Robbie Alomar.
And the fans of the Sky Dome are absolutely going crazy as they take a look at the Jumbotron and see two of their heroes.
Alomar, right now, might be the most popular Toronto Blue Jay, and running a close second might be that guy. One of the most exciting young pitchers in all of baseball. And Juan Guzman came into this postseason and did what he's done all along, throw the smoke. Tickets and entertaining his parents and family. Those folks don't speak English, which would have caused another problem as they tried to get around, so they decided to stay home and watch their son on TV tonight. And they just watched him strike out Berryhill for the second time. Back-to-back strikeouts for Guzman. He has spanned 7 through 4 and 2. And there's the man that put it all together. Started with the team in 1976, actually, just about a year before they put the team on the field. He conducted the original expansion draft. At that time, people didn't call him genius. They knew that he knew the game, but now they are. He punched all the right buttons. But this year, I think, maybe is the best example of Pat Gillick and what he can do. Yes, the minor league system produced players, Therese, but he also went out and rounded out the roster with some key acquisitions like David Cohn down the stretch.
And really, they could call him Stan Pat no longer. Also in the car, Gord Ash.
But perhaps he made the move originally, the big one, when he acquired Robbie Alomar and Joe Carter from the San Diego Padres. That's right. In the hearts of Blue Jay fans, Alomar is #1. It's the Parade of Champions. The Blue Jays have won the World Series. The excitement on TSN continues right after this.
Reserve a room at any choice hotel like Quality, Comfort, Clarion, and Sleep, and get this fabulous coupon book absolutely free. You'll save at places like Alamo Rent-A-Car, Red Lobster, and theme parks, a value of over $1,000. So call and reserve your room today.
Bye-bye.
Vanna White not included. Oh. Call 1-800-4CHOICE to reserve your room. Coupon book supplies are limited, so call today.
This month at Golden Griddle, we're cooking up a home-style dinner for just $4.99.
Roast turkey, mashed potatoes, gravy, cranberry sauce, stuffing, vegetable, and roll, only $4.99.
Order the turkey dinner, and we'll sweeten the deal with a piece of pie for only 99 cents.
Last summer, only one movie soared above the rest. Now, bring home the bat. What do you want? The cat.
Very wrong.
And the penguin. Gotta fly. Batman Returns at an affordable low price wherever video is sold.
Kurt Hart, Canadian Olympic medal winner.
I work hard to be the very best. I train hard every day, and that leaves my hair in a sweaty, tangled mess. That's why I use this, Pert Plus. Sure, I've tried some other 2-in-1s, but for me, Pert Plus is the best.
Pert Plus cleans thoroughly and conditions better than some other 2-in-1s, leaving your hair easier to comb, in control, and looking its best. Pert Plus, a winning combination for great-looking hair.
Welcome back to downtown Toronto. We're all over the place. We're indoors at the Sky Dome. Michael Landsberg, Paul Romanek, and Teresa Herger. Gino Reda is outside, along with thousands and thousands of Toronto Blue Jay fans as their Jays make their way in. Pat Borders on the right, Todd Stottlemyre on the left. Borders, of course, the World Series MVP. Stottlemyre didn't start, but was outstanding enough in the bullpen that you might make a case for him going down there permanently. You may not want to hear that, but Stottlemyre simply came in and threw nothing but strikes, and as a result, very much the Blue Jays are World Series champions. The biggest difference, I think a lot of people are saying, between the two teams was the bullpen. And Stottlemyre, an unlikely candidate to be an outstanding bullpen ace, but he certainly has been. You're seeing just a bit of the parade as it makes its way inside Sky Dome right now. And if you're wondering why it is moving slowly, the reason is thousands and thousands of fans virtually on the parade route as well.
But they are getting close as we take a look at Dave Stieb. This crowd inside the Sky Dome is anticipating these cars making their way slowly into the Sky Dome. Kelly Gruber, lots of high fives, congratulations, as the fans inside anxiously await their heroes.
Nice round of applause for Dave Stieb as his picture came up on the Jumbotron. There's no question that Steve would dearly have loved to be in there. He wasn't, but these fans respect what Steve has done for this franchise. Still likely, in terms of his career, the greatest pitcher that this franchise has ever had.
You know, it was great to see Steve on the bench. He wasn't able to contribute, unfortunately, but it was great to see him contribute and be there, you know, contributing on the bench and talking to the players and everything, because he's been a Blue Jay pretty much forever.
And this guy hasn't been a Blue Jay forever, but he's been a Blue Jay now twice. Alfredo Griffin and Manny Lee dueling shortstops in that vehicle. Holding the big Blue Jay, there's John Olerud. It's hard to believe that these guys are actually in cars because of the crowd. And there's Robbie and Ron, perhaps the most popular vehicle. Big cheer as their shot appears on the Jumbotron. Scored 3 runs to Reese, including the biggest ever, the game-winning run in Game 6.
I don't know how they're getting those cars through those throngs of people, but I'll tell you, the police have got their work cut out for them today.
You know, Robbie Alomar, right from the time that he came here, became hugely popular. He has, well, you know, I was talking about Pat Borders and John Olerud not smiling very often. You see the Robbie Alomar smile very often. They call this a little kid's game, and he's one of the few guys who virtually carries himself like a little kid, simply enjoying the good times and not getting too down on the bat. And here's another one of those great Blue Jays, one of the guys that came over in the deal, Joe Carter.
Well, Joe, along with his wife, Diana, boy, what an addition he has been to the Blue Jays team, defensively, at bat, and really on the bench as well. He's been one of the key motivators on the team.
Key motivator, you're right, a guy whose personality was transferred to this team, but it wasn't just his personality. It was his bat as well. Like Game 3 of the World Series and the first ever home run at the Skydome. Ball to center field, his first time up. Well hit to left, way back. That's the first ever World Series run in Canada. You know, I was noticing as he rounded the bases, as you look at a very popular card these days, the Joe Carter card, notice he didn't smile there. He was still all business, but there's the smile. He can relax because he knows they're World Series champions, but he wasn't about to smile in game number 3, even though he had hit the home run.
Well, you know, Joe's been around. He's been with the Cubs. He's been with the Indians for 6 years. Then he was in San Diego in 1990. Of course, he was traded along with Alomar to Toronto. But when he arrived here, he immediately put his stamp on this team.
Many are calling it one of the greatest catches of all times in World Series history. Devon White on the left, Dave Winfield on the right. We'll talk about Winfield in a moment, but right now, let's show you what in Toronto and Canada they are calling simply the catch. First and second with nobody out in the fourth in a scoreless ball game. First pitch to Justice. Well hit to center field. Devon White racing back to the warning track. Great catch up against the wall, and the runners passed each other. Pendleton went by Sanders. He has already been called out. Now they have Sanders in a rundown with a chance for a triple play. Gruber did not get him. Sanders made it back to second. Kind of a funny reaction as the umpire called Deion Sanders safe. The people here have booed. They still don't like the call, and now it doesn't really make any difference.
No, it doesn't. That would have been the first triple play since, I think, 1920, so we would have dearly have loved to have seen it happen.
Well, there's our first glimpse from the front, at least, of Cito Gaston, and now back to Devon White on the left and Dave Winfield on the right. Winfield's bat very quiet until it woke up at just the right time in game number 6 with a double down the left field line that you'll see many, many times over the next couple of decades. There's Pat Tabler. And again, very little glimpse of any cars. Candy Maldonado. You just see the tops of their heads as they part the crowd here.
I think they are doing everything that they can to get this parade going and moving into the Skydome so that we can get the festivities underway. Still an awful lot more celebration to come here in Toronto. And there we see Cito Gaston. Boy, it was nice to see him win.
Well, Cito, I think even when people criticized and questioned the moves that he made, no one questioned his character. He was always a guy that people admired, his ability to, well, now, that says a lot. Cito Gaston has taken a great deal of criticism. And again, not for his character or for the kind of man that he was, but simply the moves that he made on the field. And I guess in this instance, the only thing that counts is winning. And these people are willing to say, hey, you were right.
I think along with being a manager comes the criticism. But it's nice to see that some of the fans are saying, hey, Cito, we're glad that you did what you did with our team.
There's the tail end of the parade as it now approaches Skydome. You can see thousands and thousands still outside the Skydome. They had to close the doors of the Skydome. 50,000 plus here. Now keep in mind, there's no baseball game here, but they can still sell this place out. A city like Pittsburgh, they can't even sell out for a National League Championship Series game. Really reflects on the admiration, the love affair between the Toronto Blue Jay fans and the Jays.
I think the case down in Pittsburgh, I was down there a couple of weeks ago and I asked them what it was. Why couldn't they fill up Three Rivers Stadium? And they said, well, basically, they're spoiled. They've got the Penguins, and they've also got the
Steelers.
Pittsburgh Steelers, that's
absolutely.
right. They've got a lot of teams there in Pittsburgh to support.
Well, we got a lot of teams here, too, as well. But on this day, there is only one team, the Toronto Blue Jays. It's the Parade of Champions. They're World Series champions, and they'll be into their building in just a moment.
Super crisp, super spirals. McCain, what have you done to my fries? We've spiced them up. All right. We've crisped them up. Brilliant. We've even curled them up. Excellent. McCain has taken its famous super fries, dipped them in light batter, and surrounded them with bite after bite of crispy, crunchy, super spicy satisfaction. Straight ahead or curled around. Super crisps and super spirals from McCain. You'll love what we've done to your fries.
Welcome back to the Parade of Champions live on TSN. And as you can see outside, or as maybe you can't see because of all the people blocking the view, the parade is over and the celebration is coming inside and is about to get underway. Not a massive surprise at the level of support the Blue Jays have received here for this welcome back. I mean, they sold out 68 times this year. They averaged almost 50,000 people per game. Absolutely remarkable. Somewhere down there behind me, in amidst the throng, is Gino Reda. He'll be covering all the action down on the floor, and there will be lots of it. Gino?
Well, Paul, I hope you didn't ask me any difficult questions because I couldn't hear a word you were saying. You're being broadcast here on the Jumbotron. Our entire parade has been. And every word you say is being responded to the huge crowd that is indoors here. The sense you get down here on the field level, which today is a concrete court because the turf has been pulled up, the sense you get is that you've got 45, maybe 50,000 fans waiting for the final out of the World Series. Of course, that has already been accomplished, and the celebrations have begun. Interesting T-shirt I picked up outside, and I really think this says it all. A pair of flags on the front half that says, in 1972, we showed the Soviets how to play hockey. The backside, 20 years later, 1992, we showed the Americans how to play baseball. The crowd in here is loving it. The streamers are flying everywhere. The Blue Jay banners are up. They are as thrilled as you could possibly imagine. And, Paul, as hard as it may seem to believe, that will just intensify once the Blue Jays make their way into the Skydome and onto the floor here. That should be an incredible moment. Right now, let's go back up to Michael.
Gene, you know, that T-shirt, I think, you don't want to analyze it. You just want to accept it. Is it Canada versus the U.S.? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but it sure makes it fun, and it sure allows the entire nation to really get behind it. I think the guys did a great job in conveying the feeling across the country from Newfoundland to British Columbia on Saturday night and Sunday morning. The feeling was that this country really got behind it. Not everybody's a Blue Jay fan, but when it comes to Canada versus the U.S., there's a storyline there as well.
Well, of course, all the players are Americans that are on the Blue Jays, but I think Joe Carter said it best the night that they won the World Series last Saturday. He said, I am so glad to bring this championship to Canada.
You're right. There's a nice cross-section of players. There's the American players and, of course, players from the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico as well, and perhaps no Canadians there, but also if you're looking for a Canadian-American angle, the Blue Jay front office, many of the key contributors, including the man that runs the show from the top, Paul Beeston. Of course, the president of the Toronto Blue Jays is very much a Canadian. So at the top, there are some key contributors who have put this organization together. Just a great great feeling here inside the Skydome. Fans coming here well-behaved, everybody sitting in their seats and just enjoying what now is just a great party.
Well, our last outside shot, it was here that most of the cars have made their way inside, so I would imagine that they're getting ready to bring them out onto the floor here of the Skydome. It is absolutely electric in here, Michael. It's exciting. There's paper everywhere. People have ripped up pieces of paper like a ticker tape parade, and I've seen them come cascading down from the 500 level. People are waiting for the Jays to come in.
If the Jays had won the World Series in 4 games, obviously there would be this kind of excitement. But perhaps it's raised up even an extra notch when you consider what a struggle it was and what a battle game number 6 was. It was virtually torture for Blue Jay fans. They're up, they're down, they're going to win. No, they're not going to win. I mean, it was a classic baseball game that in the end, according to these 50,000-plus fans, came out the right way.
Well, I took in the game from the Hard Rock Cafe, and as I mentioned that night, I had never seen a group of people go through such a roller coaster of emotion in my life. They were either up and singing and dancing and hugging strangers and everything, and then they were down or biting their fingernails. They were upset, and people were holding their heads in their hands. Then they were excited again when Dave Winfield brought in 2 to bring the score to 4-2. And then, of course, they absolutely exploded when the Jays won the World Series.
The Metro Toronto Police Band, the band that's leading the way, is about 3 minutes away. And the sign says make noise, and just as people watching the Jumbotron see the sign, they do exactly that. The man in the heart of all the noise is Argino Retta. Gene?
Well, it wasn't easy trying to get a seat here at the Skydome. Mario now joins me. Mario, how long did you have to camp out to get here?
Well, I got here at 11:30 last night, and there was a lineup still. People were lined up like all night, about at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and it was just great. Everyone was so partying all night long. They let us in around like 9 o'clock this morning, and it was well worth the wait. Well worth it.
The question I have, of course, is how did you get the day off work today? Or is your boss watching us on work right now, wondering where you are?
He'll probably see me. He'll probably see me. I'm at home sick.
He's got Blue Jay laryngitis, I'm sure. So you camped out. You got a second row seat in here. Was it worth the effort?
Well worth it. I've followed the Blue Jays for many years, and I love Robbie Alomar, Joe Carter. I hope Winfield stays with them. I love them all.
All right, thanks a lot, Mario. Mario, just one of 45,000 Blue Jay fans anxious to see the Jays arrive. Let's go upstairs.
Teresa, you know, the Blue Jays are aware, obviously, of the loyal fans they have. 4 million fans 2 years in a row. And I think the Jays really pushed the right buttons this year. They know that loyalty is there, and they went out and at least attempted to reward that loyalty. They went out and spent big money to get Jack Morris and Dave Winfield before the season, to get David Cohn. And as a result, as you look outside, well, they're even climbing to get the good seats here. It is just a terrific day, and it's a day that Blue Jay fans can just let go, not worry about a game that's lying ahead. They can put on a gorilla costume and go crazy.
You know, it's too bad that we can't fit everybody into the Skydome, because now it seems that the party's over in the streets, even though we see some of those fans still having a good time. But now the party has moved inside. In moments, we hope to see the Metro Toronto Police Band come in here and lead this parade onto the floor of the Skydome.
Do people ever get tired of cheering? The answer seems to be definitely not. It's the Parade of Champions, and we anticipate the parade arriving at Skydome when we return. You're watching the celebrations on TSN, the Sports Network.
Pasteurizing and no preservatives. All it needed was a new shape. New Labatt Genuine Draft in the 30-sided can.
You know, Diet Pepsi is now for everyone. That's right, Ray. Meet my twin brother, Irv.
And our twin Peter Beth.
With caffeine-free Diet Pepsi, I get all that great taste, but with no caffeine. Sing it, brother. You got the right one, baby. It's irresistible, uncontestably tasteable, and caffeine-free. You got the right one, baby. Hey.
Is that 100%
Welcome back to live coverage of the Parade of Champions. A salute to the 1992 World Series champion Toronto Blue Jays. Come on inside. You've got the best seat in the country.
You also got the easiest seat in the country when you heard from that one guy talking to Gino Reda saying that he lined up last night, spent the night outside. It took that much to get a good seat here today. And that speaks volumes for how much this city likes the team.
Well, I know that it absolutely poured this morning, so I can't imagine that it was a very pleasant wait out there last night, but they toughed it out and got the best seat, and I'm sure as they look back on this moment, they will remember it for the rest of their lives.
Isn't that a great shot? The woman looking up at the screen and saying, oh my gosh, that's me. Well, Gino Reda, this is you. Go ahead, Gino.
Michael, thanks very much. And joining me right now is one of the co-voices of the Toronto Blue Jays, really since day one, Mr. Tom Cheek. Tom, when you look up at all these people here in the Sky Dome, what is the feeling that goes through your body right now?
This is the most fantastic sight I've ever seen right here. This is everything that we imagine and so much more, that a day or so after the actual event, the fact, these people have stayed at such a high that they fill this place, wall-to-wall humanity in the city today. It's a great release after 16 years. That's what it is. It's the greatest party I've ever seen or been a part of.
And one of the great moments, I'm sure, in your career is when Jerry looked at you and said, the 11th inning, Tom, it's your turn, it's your call.
Well, I guess that's the ultimate IOU right there, Gino. He caught me completely by surprise. I don't know why, but I will forever be indebted to him. It was a wonderful moment. I guess that is in recognition of having seen the first pitch and now the championship last pitch of this marvelous season.
Tom Cheek, the voice of the Blue Jays, been with the Jays. There are 45,000 people here. Folks, would you like to give a nice warm round of applause with a man who was with the team from day one, Mr. Tom Cheek. Tom, this is for you. Thanks very much, Tom. And thank you to the crowd for supporting Tom Cheek, who's been with the team the whole way along. Certainly, one person you cannot call a bandwagon jumper. Let's go back upstairs to Michael Lansford.
Well, Gino, back in 1977, he called Bill Singer's first pitch. He called through the lean years. And it's a tough job. I mean, it's a job that a lot of people at home would like to have, calling a baseball game. But 162 games is a lot of games. And 17 seasons is a lot of seasons. It's a lot of games to keep your enthusiasm up. It's a real tough job. At least it's a real tough job when you're not calling the 11th inning of the World Series.
You know, as a journalist, you have to remain impartial. But I think today, as we just saw with Tom Cheek, a very emotional day for everyone and for many of the journalists that have been covering them all along. Michael, I think we're about to get things underway here at the Sky Dome.
Well, you spoke of the emotion and the feeling, and I think we're going to get a good dose of it right now. And I guess one of the great things about the fact that it's baseball and Canada only has two teams is that, you know, regardless of where you live and whether you're a broadcaster or not, you can feel to some extent part of the team and give up on worrying about if you're talking about the Oilers, is someone in Calgary going to be upset. There is only one American League team in Canada, and it's the Toronto Blue Jays. And since it wasn't the Expos against the Jays, we can throw our support behind the Toronto Blue Jays.
this pandemonium is the 1992 celebration of the Toronto Blue Jays World Series Championship. I'm Paul Romanuk, along with Michael Landsberg and Teresa Hergert and Gino Retta, and we are live at the Sky Dome, and this place is going crazy.
Well, the cheering just doesn't stop. They were cheering this morning at 10 o'clock. The question is, how will they react when the Blue Jays make their first appearance, and we won't have to wait very long to find out.
Well, somebody was wondering if they were going to open up the roof, and I bet you when those Blue Jays come in here, they're not going to have to even open it up because I think the sound just might take it off.
Well, I remember once upon a time someone named Dave Winfield saying, you know, this team would really appreciate a little bit more noise. Well, he got more noise, and he pushed all the right buttons. People weren't offended by what he said. They responded. They became noisier, and people who were at both games in Atlanta and the games in Toronto said the Blue Jay fans were the noisier bunch.
Well, now they are doing the Atlanta chop. A lot of the Blue Jays were doing the Atlanta chop. And here comes DJ Birdie. He finally made it into the Sky Dome. Making their way into the Sky Dome now, Pat Gillick, who is the vice president and GM of this team, and Gord Ash, the assistant general manager. Michael, you spoke before of the tremendous contribution that these men have done to put this team together.
Well, just listen to the cheers and keep in mind what general managers in other cities usually hear. They're booed, they're criticized for making the wrong moves, but Pat Gillick and Gord Ash, two men that work hand in hand. By the way, one of the key acquisitions by the Blue Jays this year was Dave Winfield, and Gord Ash signed him when Pat Gillick was on vacation. That was a surprise to Gillick when he got back, but everybody knows what Winfield has meant to this team. But when you consider, really, in terms of baseball, there's only one voice you hear, and that is that Pat Gillick is the best in the business. And he only needed a World Series to show for it. There's car number 2, Tommy Craig, who patched the Blue Jays together along with his assistant, Brent Andrews. That's Craig on the right, Andrews on the left, with their respective families.
It is really nice to see that the Blue Jays are honoring the people behind the scenes. As we mentioned earlier, there's so much work that goes on behind the scenes, people that we never really even see, and it's nice to see them take part in this parade.
Well, it's also nice to see Tommy Craig in a positive situation. Normally when you see him, he's out on the field, he's attending to someone who perhaps has been injured, so it's good to see him not looking at anyone's knee or ankle or examining a pitching hand. He's just here to help celebrate a team that he helped contribute to the World Series victory. This is the two clubhouse managers, Jeff Ross, who's the manager of the Toronto Blue Jays clubhouse, and Ian Duff, who manages the clubhouse for the Atlanta Braves. Someone joked that he contributed well to the Blue Jay victory as well in not giving the Braves clean towels.
Yeah, we hear the room was an absolute mess. No, not at all. These two gentlemen doing their job in a professional manner in which everyone would expect them to. They are honored today as well here in the Sky Dome. Jeff Ross and Ian Duff, the clubhouse managers.
Here's the next vehicle with a couple of the Blue Jay coaches. That's Galen Cisco on the left, Blue Jay pitching coach, and John Sullivan on the right. Longtime Blue Jay coach. Took care of the bullpen And I guess the way that he's giving is much deserved and much earned because the bullpen was outstanding.
It certainly was. You can't say enough about the Jays bullpen. And as you said earlier, it was the difference between the two teams.
And Galen Cisco, who took over the job from Al Widmar. Widmar, much respected here, and Cisco did a terrific job. Here's Rich Hacker, the Blue Jays third base coach, and I believe Bob Baylor should be there as well. Yep, that's Baylor on your left and Hacker on your right. Baylor, one of the original Toronto Blue Jays, drafted in the expansion draft, and now the Blue Jays first base coach. You know, Rich Hacker, Teresa, had a fairly easy American League Championship Series and World Series. Not a lot of key decisions at third base.
No, not really. But the crowd cheering them in as they come here in the Sky Dome today.
And here is a guy who many credit for turning around several of the Toronto Blue Jays. Larry Heisel, the batting coach, in particular his work with Manny Lee. Lee had his best season ever, and I know Manny Lee feels that Larry Heisel was one of the key contributors along with Rick Knox, who's the conditioning coach. And I guess when a team wins a World Series in game number 6, showing that they've got plenty of gas still left, that's a tribute to the conditioning coach as well. Larry Heisel, a great player, an RBI man over the years, came in and did the job, as did this man. Jimmy Key was a starter, was a reliever, and in the end, the Blue Jays will wear the World Series rings in a large part because of Jimmy Key. And let's look back at one of his several outstanding moments in the World Series. Good move. Out at first is Otis Nixon.
Jimmy joined along with his wife Cindy today and his daughter Jordan. Of course, you can't say enough about the families and the support that they give the players throughout the year.
I imagine if it was me, the opportunity to have my wife and children there would make it even more special because they very seldom get to, at least visibly on the outside and in public, be joined by their family. That it's got to make it extra special.
Well, an interesting note about Cindy and Jimmy, they both were on scholarship at Clemson. Cindy was in swimming, Jimmy, of course, baseball, and that's where they met.
And here's Jack Morris on the left with a big J and Mark Eichhorn on the right. Eichhorn, a longtime Toronto Blue Jay, rejoined this team down the stretch and even got into a World Series game as well. Morris and Mark Eichhorn. Contrast what Jack Morris is hearing and feeling now as he makes his way into the Sky Dome to what he was feeling last time he was here and making his way out. Quite a difference.
December the 18th, 1991. Quite a day in Jays history. That was the day that the Jays signed him. A whole day of talks. And they finally capped it off with champagne at about 5 o'clock that night.
Jack Morris and Mark Eichhorn. As you look at Tom Hickey and David Cohn, both so important down the stretch. Hickey, the money man in the 9th inning, not to close it out in game number 6, but before that, and David Cohn came up with a terrific performance at the plate as well in game number 6, throwing 6 strong innings and setting the Blue Jays up for their victory. And we're expecting up next perhaps the biggest cheer, or one of the bigger cheers that you'll hear, and they're all big. Pat Borders, I believe, is in the next vehicle with Todd Stottlemyre.
And there they are.
Just wait for the reaction as they see him make his way in and up on the Jumbotron. And there it is.
Stottlemyre joined by his wife, Sherry. He, of course, is the son of Mel Stottlemyre.
Well, Todd went to the bullpen, and he made that trip to the bullpen exactly the way he should. He accepted it, and he delivered. And one of the big reasons why the Blue Jays are here today, one of the reasons why the parade is in this city, clearly Todd Stottlemyre, but even more than that, Pat Borders, who performed miracles at the plate. And two unlikely heroes, but very much the heroes. Mike Timlin on the right with a cowboy hat, and David Wells on the left. Wells really didn't figure into Cito Gaston's bullpen over the past month of the season, but when the playoffs came, he was there to retire some key left-handers and a right-hander in Ron Gann as well. And Mike Timlin, who would have guessed that he would get the final out?
You're right. Who would have guessed? You know, he was saying he dreamt about it. Like many baseball players do, they dream about coming into a final game situation. Can they make the save? And Mike Timlin came through.
Well, you know what? I think that Mike Timlin exemplifies what Cito Gaston is all about. He's got confidence in each and every one of his players. And when you reward confidence time and time again, and you give the ball to a guy like Mike Timlin, he can do some great things, as he did.
Mike Timlin wearing the cowboy hat. He's originally from Midland, Texas.
And here's Dave, Steve, and Kelly Gruber. The reaction's a bit delayed from the crowd. We're seeing a shot as they make their way in. The crowd has yet to see. Kelly Gruber still wearing the scar on his chin from his big slide home as he came home with the game-winning run. And there's the reaction. Kelly Gruber. And you can see Kelly Gruber reaching for the plate and reaching back, and he says he actually lost consciousness for a time. Has no recollection of that or a great play that he made in the ninth inning. It was all a daze, but I think he's probably in fine focus right now as he and Dave Steve receive the cheers from this huge crowd.
You know, they should have given Kelly the home plate because I think he left part of his chin still. Kelly is joined by his wife, Lynn. And we saw earlier in the parade that the son, Cody, was joining him as well. And they got a new little baby that was born earlier this year.
And there's Pat Henkin, made some appearances from the bullpen over the course of the season. And very much a guy that the Blue Jays intend to perhaps have in the bullpen or even in the starting rotation sometime in the future. Pat Henkin, everybody's a popular man on this day. And Pat Henkin, one of the young Jays who perhaps one day at a parade in the future will figure in a more prominent role.
There are a lot of questions surrounding this team, this Blue Jays team, about who's going to be here next year. But it is good to see a promising future.
Kelly and one of his two children, as you say, he had a child, or he and his wife had a child very recently, and they were able to enjoy it together. And here are two guys that, if it weren't for them, the Jays wouldn't be here. John Olerud on the left. And as the camera changes around now, it's Ed Sprague on the left and John Olerud on the right. You look at John Olerud, Teresa, and you realize the pressure and the money involved in all of it. And then you look at these faces and you realize they're just young boys. They really are.
Well, Olerud's only 24 years old. Ed Sprague, he is 25. So, yes, they are young. And once again, Blue Jays of the future that we can look forward to seeing for many more years.
And here's the Blue Jay from the past and a Blue Jay of the present. They're both, of course, from the present. But Alfredo Griffin carried the Jays' hopes in the early years. He was reacquired this year, and he was absolutely super down the stretch. And there's Manny Lee on the right, who had his best season, and I don't think it's a coincidence at all that his best season coincides with the Blue Jays' best season.
Every Toronto Blue Jay, of course, making their contribution.
Having some fun with the chop, and let's go down and have more fun with the man who put it all together, the architect of this World Series championship, Pat Gillick, is with our Juno Red.
Thanks very much, Michael. And architect is the key word to use. Pat Gillick now joins us. Pat, the team did the job on the field, but you put the team on the field.
Well, I think that a lot goes into that. The fact of the backing of our ownership of this ball club, which has been behind us from day one. They give us.
Robbie Alomar just came into the stadium, Pat. I'm sure you can understand why the fans would appreciate that.
Yes, exactly. And it's kind of hard to hear in here right now, but I think we're all very happy and very fortunate that this happened to us at this particular time.
The key about this is guys like Robbie Alomar is receiving the huge ovation right now. A couple of years ago, you were nicknamed Stan Pat. That all changed. Robbie Alomar, Joe Carter, you went out and made some key free agent signings and put together really a world championship team.
Well, we think we do have a great ball club, and we want to try to hold it together come 93. I think we've had a slogan in the clubhouse, 3 for 3, which meant the division, the league, and the World Series. And I think we want to make it 6 for 6.
Pat, thanks a lot and congratulations.
Thank you.
Pat Gillick, the general manager of the world champion Toronto Blue Jays. Michael?
More Blue Jays making their way in. Tom Quinlan and Mike Muscudian, two young players who, as I said, perhaps sometime in the future might play a bigger role on the team than they did over this season. No question, though, that they figure in on the plans, and as baseball evolves and the team changes and there will be some turnover, who knows, maybe they'll be contributing next year.
You know, the crowd here in the Skydome has been absolutely phenomenal. They have been cheering and waving since very early this morning. And just when you think they don't have any more left to give, the roar goes up from these fans here, some over 50,000 here in the Skydome, as they honor these players, the world champions.
I believe that is Turner Ward. And Turner Ward, one of the most popular Toronto Blue Jays. I know that he figures in their plans, and they look forward to his contributions. And here is Joe Carter.
Joe Carter, joined by his wife Diane, is here today at the Skydome as they make their way in.
If a smile can light up a building, this is it.
Game 6 in Atlanta, Joe seemed almost subdued in a way. I mean, a lot of people thought he would have been absolutely out of his mind with excitement. He seemed a little subdued, but I think today he can finally let all of this sink in and truly enjoy the celebration.
Two guys who deserve every second and every decibel of the cheer. Dave Winfield on the right, Devon White on the left, but you probably don't need me telling you that. Dave Winfield, the hero of game number 6. And who would have thought it? Struggling at the plate, Winfield came up to the plate in the 11th inning with 2 batters on and 2 outs. Joe Carter had just flied out. The Blue Jays knew that this was their situation, and Winfield pulled a Charlie Leibrandt off-speed pitch down the left field line. In came Devon White, and he says, "Come on in, Robbie." By the time Ron Gant can track it down, the Blue Jays had 2 runs, and they needed both those runs as they went on to a 4-3 victory.
How much can you say about Dave Winfield and what he has done for this team, not only on the field and at the plate, but in the clubhouse as well? When things weren't going so great in the regular season, he pulled the club together and sat down. He says, "I don't know if things are done here in Toronto like that, but where I come from with the Yankees, when things were going wrong, we sat down and we talked about it." And he says, "If I've got to get up in front of this room," he says, "I will."
Pat Tabler making his way in, a role player for the Blue Jays. Had a pinch-hitting performance in the World Series. Was acquired for exactly that. But Cito Gaston, not a manager who likes to use everyone on the bench. Likes to go with the starters, likes to tell them that it's their job to win or lose the game. And this season, more often than not, they won, and they won in the end at exactly the right time. Devon White now making his way in, fittingly from the center field area, an area that he occupied. And here's Candy Maldonado. Candy Maldonado coming into the building that he electrified about a week ago. Maldonado in one of the key at-bats in game number 3 at the plate with Jeff Reardon facing him. He delivered.
My team win the game. He's come into a very difficult spot. And Maldonado takes an 0-2 pitch to deep center to win the ball game. On an 0-2 pitch, he gave him something that Maldonado could drive, and he drove it, driving in Alomar with the winning run. Toronto takes game 3, 3-2.
And here is Candy. And, you know, when you consider, Teresa, some of the highlights that we've seen, you realize that almost everybody delivered for this guy. Cito Gaston now making his way in along with Gene Tennis. And Cito doing the chop and having a great time and smiling and able to let loose. A quiet, reserved man who treats everybody with respect, and I can't imagine anyone who deserves this more than Cito Gaston.
Now, how many times have we looked down into that dugout and seen Cito Gaston sitting beside him, Gene Tennis? It's kind of nice they're coming in the same car together as ever and managing this team to the World Series.
Cito Gaston, last time he was here, he probably wondered whether the parade would ever take place. But knowing Cito, he probably figured it would. He had that kind of confidence. Gino Reda is our man in the crowd. And let's go to Gino right now with Paul Godfrey.
Michael, yes, Paul Godfrey now joins me. Paul, now the publisher of the Toronto Sun, back then the Metro chairman of the city of Toronto. In 1969, it was a dream. So much work, but obviously well worth it now.
Well, it's unbelievable. Words can't express how great I feel about this, to see how this dream came true today. April 7th, 1977, I thought it was really exciting. This is electrifying beyond belief. Words can't be found to tell you how I feel inside about these 25 great guys and these millions of people that came out to support them.
Years ago, when you began to try to put people together, enough money together, enough support together to get this team together, did people think you ever really had a shot at it?
Well, we had a few, fortunately, not a lot. But it proved as time went by, we got more and more people behind us. And as a result, if you're patient, you know it's right, it's going to happen. We figured someday it would be like this. We didn't think it would come so soon.
Paul, congratulations on being a key role player in all of this.
Thank you very much.
Paul Godfrey, the publisher of the Toronto Sun and one of the founders of the Toronto Blue Jays, bringing them here back in 1977. Let's go up to Michael.
Was it ever different back then in 1977? The names, obviously, everyone's different. A couple of the names still lingering from the early days, but now it's a new bunch, and a bunch that closed out. Dave Steve was there in the early years. Dave Steve's now here. Wasn't on the active roster. Kelly Gruber, of course, was. So was Joe Carter. Let's go for the festivities. Let's hear from these players. Let's go to Murray Eldon, the PA announcer here at Skydown.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from Telemedia, the radio voices of the Blue Jays, Tom Cheek and Jerry Howard.
Thank you, Murray. Thank you, Murray, very much. Ladies and gentlemen, if we would ask, and I know that this is tough for you at this precise moment, but maybe just stand in place, relax, sit down, whatever. We've got a few people up here with a few speaking parts today, and then we're going to get the ball players to come up and say a few words to you. And as you do that, as you look at the champions up here, applaud yourselves. You are the champions of baseball on this day, too. As I said, we have some special very special people up here who would like to take a couple of minutes to say hello, and to begin with, representing the city of Toronto, Her Worship the Mayor, June Rowlands. Mayor Rowlands.
Premier, Metropolitan Chairman, managers, owners, trainers, all the people connected with the Blue Jays, Blue Jay fans, but most particularly those who we're honoring today, those insuperable, incomparable Blue Jays. I have a proclamation to read, and then I'm going to sit down. None of us are going to take too much time here. But I just want to say, that will get a cheer. I just want to say to the team that they've given Toronto back its heart. That's what they've done. Yeah. this city and this country. At this critical juncture in our history, they came in here and they did it. And it's wonderful, and we honor them today. And before I read the proclamation, I want the members of City Council to stand up. I can't introduce you all, but stand up. All City Council is here. But I hear the odd boo. But I also want to say to you that there is a person here today, and it's likely that we wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for Paul Godfrey and what he saw. It's Paul that turned us all into baseball fans. It was Paul that over the years, and I was on council when he was trying to do it, to get people to respond. We want a team. We're going to have a stadium. We're going to have a great stadium. And we did it, and he did it, and it's his day, too. So now I want to read up. Now, I know I'm trying your patience, but I'm going to read this proclamation. Toronto Blue Jays Day. October 26, 1992, there is nothing sweeter than the taste of victory, and thanks to our victorious Blue Jays, fans are waist-deep in triumphal celebrations. For the fans, it was worth the wait. Since 1977, when the city became the home of the Jays, enthusiasts have followed the team's fortunes. Many ardent supporters have traveled to watch the team. To salute the efforts of our dedicated team, I take great pleasure in issuing this proclamation designating October 26th Blue Jays Day. Okay. And now I have a little presentation. Where's Cito? Where is he? There he is. Come on.
Thank you, Mayor. Let me first of all say how happy I am to be here at the Winfield of Dreams. It's my pleasure now to introduce the Metro Chairman, Alan Tonks. Alan?
Thank you very much, Jerry. Jerry and Tom, you must be looking back 16 years and that day in the stadium, that cold stadium, and you're saying, this is the kind of warmth that you were really working towards. It's a great day in Toronto. I'd like to congratulate the greatest team in baseball. Okay, Blue Jays! Ladies and gentlemen and boys and girls, there's a generation of us in this stadium that were raised with the names like Willie Mays, Jackie Robinson, Mickey Mantle, Yogi Berra. But there's names for a whole generation, all generations in this stadium. That's the Blue Jays. I will be making a presentation just as we did in Dunedin. When Dunedin Blue Jays opened their stadium, we sent a Eskimo carving down there depicting baseball as it's played in Canada. Now we know the way it's played in Canada is the best way. All right. Ladies and gentlemen and boys and girls, on your behalf, I will be making that a similar presentation, a soapstone carving that will be put on display here in the Dome Stadium, just as it is in Dunedin, by a Canadian sculptor, Dave Burnett. I look forward to making that on your behalf when that soapstone couch is ready. Thank you very much, and congratulations to our great team.
Thank you, Mr. Tonks. I would like to, before this next introduction, I would like to bring to your attention 3 trophies that are on the table here behind me. To my far right is the American League Championship trophy. Closest to me is the Pat Borders MVP trophy. And this is the kingdom of baseball now. The Blue Jays have brought home to the realm the World Series trophy in the middle of that table. This next gentleman told me a moment ago, he says, I'm going to beat Eckersley on the boo scale here this afternoon. I said, no, not today. This man was a baseball fan from this high, and he's been a Blue Jay fan from day one. Ladies and gentlemen, the premier, Mr. Bob Ray.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you. All right. I just want to congratulate the team sincerely for a great victory, for making us all proud to be Canadian. And I want to say to Mr. Beeston that he and I have discussed already that we're going to find a way to memorialize the Blue Jays at the new wing of the Sick Kids Hospital. We're proud to do that. Thank you all very much. Let's hear it for the Blue Jays. For the Blue Jays now. Thank you.
Well, the highlights of the show still to come, including the unveiling of the Toronto Blue Jays World Championship banner. You're watching the Parade of Champions live on TSN.
Travelers 50 and over save 30% at choice hotels like Quality, Comfort, Clarion, and Sleep.
After a life like
Time out, Evil. Travelers 50 and over also get a free coupon book worth over $1,000 at places like Alamo, Rent-A-Car, Red Lobster, and theme parks. Okay, Evil, from the top.
After a life like mine, that's about the biggest thrill I could take.
Save 30% if you're 50 or over and get a free coupon book. Call 1-800-4CHOICE and reserve your room today.
Welcome back to the Sky Dome where the celebration continues. Let's go back to the podium and listen in to Paul Beeston.
You've been our friends from the beginning, and we appreciate everything that you have done for us to make this such a wonderful and safe day. I'd like to thank Labatt's and the Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce, our owners. They've given this organization the will, the dollars, and the support to go out and put a contending team on the field for the last 10 years, culminating in what happened on Saturday evening. I'd like to thank our board, our scouts, our development people who have worked so hard to make everything come through right now. And I'd particularly like to thank Pat Gillick and Cito Gaston. They provided the leadership both on and off the field that has brought us all here this afternoon, and I think made sure that nobody's in school. Perfect. I remember when I was growing up, we used to put a radio in our ear or sneak away to listen to the World Series games. Now we're playing at night. We don't have that opportunity, so once every year, maybe we can do this. Now, there's one group. There's one group that I think that we don't have to thank because you thanked them in a very special way today. But there are 25 players here who have brought much pride, much glory, through a determination that started in spring training. And on behalf of our organization, I'd like to thank the players of the Toronto Blue Jays. Stand up, guys. You gentlemen are the best. And I want to make one more thank you, and that's to you, the fans. We have the best team, we have the best fans, and you deserve this victory. If a World Series for Toronto, it's not just the players, but it is for you. You're to be congratulated, and as Dave Winfield said, you're that extra person. We thank you for your support. Spring training's in 4 months' time. We're going to repeat. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Well, ladies and gentlemen, a lot goes into a baseball season, not only between the white lines when the game is on, but with the coaches preparing these guys to play and in the formation of a baseball team. This next gentleman is the architect, really, of these 1992 Toronto Blue Jays, the world champions, the guy who put it all together and then put the finishing touches on it, our Vice President and General Manager, Mr. Pat Gillick. Patrick.
Thank you, Tom. I'll be very brief, but I also want to thank the players of the 1992 Toronto Blue Jays for the effort they gave during the season. Without them, we certainly couldn't have got this job done. Now, many people, I think, have been very upset about free trade. I'm not particularly upset about free trade because we have 3 examples of what free trade brought us right behind us this evening. And as I echo what Paul said, let's put 3 more up there in 93. Thank you.
If we might have just a few minutes of your attention now, what we would like to do is to have the players come up here one at a time. One at a time for just a few seconds apiece to say hello and thanks to all of you out there. Let's start it with Jerry on this end.
I think the best introduction for this first gentleman, the Candy Man, Candy Maldonado. Now, I think it's only fair, Candy, to hear that in the background. Candy, your home run in that Game 6 helped to put the tomahawk chop to an end.
Well, you know, I just thank the Lord that I was able to contribute. I'm more glad that I was part of the sweet team. I thank the organization for having me here. I had a wonderful year with the boys, with the city, with the fans. All I want to say is thank you all. You all deserve it. God bless you. And like they're talking now, gotta do it again. See you then.
All right.
We're going to have to wait. We're going to have to wait a few months before we see this guy pitch again. We were hoping, and we thank the good Lord that we didn't have to see him pitch on Sunday night. But he helped get us here, Juan Guzman.
First, I want to thank God to give me this opportunity to be here. And I want to thank the trainer, too, because they helped me to come back from my injuries that I was, and helped the team to come back to make the World Series. And I want to thank the organization, you know, to give me a chance to be here, too. And all the fans, too, you know. I love you all, you know. So I want to thank you all. Thanks.
Thank you, Juan. I, for one, in years to come, when I look at the center field wall and I see 400 on it, I will always remember a fella pinned up against that wall with a ball in his glove who made the catch in the World Series, Devon White.
I just want to thank mainly the support of my family, my wife, the fans, and my teammates, and that's why we're here today. Hey, this is the greatest fans, I think, right now in the world. Thank you very much.
Back there in Atlanta, they're not chopping too much right now because Roberto Alomar brought home the tomahawk. Oh, Robbie. Robbie brought home the tomahawk.
I want to say thank you to the fans for supporting us all year round. And thank you to my teammates. Thank you to all the coaches. And especially I want to thank to a man that deserved this more than us, Mr. Ciro Gaston. I think so he deserved this. I just want to say I love you all, and I'll be here next year.
Roberto Alomar.
Thank you, Roberto. This next gentleman's bat is going to the Hall of Fame, and for good reason. This gentleman hit a home run in Game 6 to help beat Oakland. He hit the first World Series home run as a Blue Jay. And he hit the first home run ever on Canadian soil in the World Series, Joe Carter.
Deserve it. You deserve it. I tell you what, first giving honor to God, I mean, you cannot, this is tremendous. You know, you people follow instructions well, because halfway through the season, Mr. Winfield said he wants noise, and I tell you what, you've been giving him noise ever since then. You got this town pumped up, and more than not, you got this team pumped up, because I tell you what, these guys came ready to play every single day. We had a goal right from spring training, and everyone saw the T-shirts that said 3 for 3 in 92. And by George, we came out 3 for 3 in 92. And you all were a big part of that. This is a great feeling. I'm happy for the fans here in Toronto, for the city of Toronto, Canada, for my teammates here, because it was a total team effort. For Cito, Paul Beeson, Pat Gillick, everybody. I mean, this was great. This is what baseball is all about, and you could not have asked for a better ending to a season than what transpired here in Toronto. We did it. We're world champions. We're all number one. Thank you. It took 16 years for it to happen, and now looking back, it's like in the bat of an eye, 16 years, but we all know that there were a lot of players who came and went before the championship seasons came around, and it's so wonderful that this young man had the opportunity to come home to be a part of it all, if you will. Alfredo Griffin, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, 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 yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm a really happy man today. I left me in the bad, come back in the good. Thank you, Lord. Oh, baby. Yes. Thank you very much. I'm really happy to be here. This, for me, is my first World Series. I already won one, but I forgot about that already. This don't mean nothing to me right now. The one coming is the real World Series ring. I love you, Blue Jays. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Alfredo. It takes 25 men and even a few more to help win a World Series. And my memories of this next gentleman go back to September, Arlington, Texas. 3 hits for this gentleman, including a big home run to help the Blue Jays get here today. Turner Ward, ladies and gentlemen.
First of all, I want to thank my wife for having my little boy Tucker, who's sitting right there in the front row. And I just want to thank the Toronto organization, because I still could be with Cleveland. So if it weren't for them, I'd still be with Cleveland, maybe watching this on television. So I want to thank the whole organization. I love you fans. You're the best in the world. Thank you.
They say in baseball, you got to be strong up the middle, and this young man showed just how strong he was. He beat off challenges for his job. He gave us a solid season and is as deserving of this World Series recognition as anybody in the Sky Dome today, Manuel Lee.
Thank you. Thank you. I'd just like to say a couple of things. Thank you for your people to support the whole year. And I'd like to say thank you to Cito Gaston
it's a guy, you know, that helped me. They give me the opportunity to play every day in the shortstop. So I'd like to say thank you, and God bless you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Manuel. Another September call-up, actually the day before, on August the 31st, is a young man who performed very well in Syracuse. He had 3 pinch hit home runs. He did have a tendency to bug his teammates on occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Maksudian.
Thank you. We're number one. You think this is all pleasure. You think we're all having a good time. But when we won the American League, I told them I was going to get a tattoo on my butt. I got it. I still got to get one more for the World Series.
Thank you, Mike.
Let's turn our attention to a fellow right here who had one of these kinds of seasons. I mean, you know, let's tell it like it is here. Up and down, injury racked, but he was there when the chips were down and when it all counted, and he's been here for some great seasons and hopefully many more to come. Our third baseman, Kelly Gruber. Kelly.
You guys are awesome. You're unbelievable. I want to thank in this order. I want to thank the God above. I want to thank my family, my wife, my boy, my daughter, Cassie. And I want to thank you fans. You're the best fans in the world. And I don't care about the one or two that boo me. You're the best. Thank you all.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Kelly. When I think of this next gentleman, I'll think of a home run in the 10th inning to win a game down the right field line. And I think I'll always remember Atlanta's Jeff Blauser coming up with 2 on late in the game. He hit a ground ball over first that looked like a 2-run double, but John Olerud took it away from him.
I really don't know what to say. I'm speechless. This was outstanding. You guys were great. And I'm just proud to be a part of it. Thank you.
This must be a big deal. John's heartbeat got all the way up to 50 here when he was coming up to pick up the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, when it's all said and done, injury sometimes will take its toll. From the day the season begins until the day it ends, as we said before, there are many, many ups and downs, but there are also players who are the signature of organizations. And this gentleman here has been the signature of this organization for a glorious decade plus. He pitched your first and your only no-hitter, and we're talking about right-hander Dave Steve.
Thank you. What a day for this organization, what a day for Canada. And to be here 2 years that this team came into existence and to have done all that I had done with the help of many, many teammates over the years, and to see this organization strive for this day from day one since I've been here. And if it were not for all these tremendous athletes on this stage right now, I might have never been able to be a part of this. I wish my family could be here right now to share this with me, And this organization has grown. I think we as players have grown, and you as fans have grown. And it's just so much growth, and it's so tremendous a day right now to experience this, to ride in that car, to see these people out on the streets. The support is tremendous, and I thank each and every one of you for the support you've given me over the last couple of years when I've been down and out. And it's just been a great experience to see this kind of baseball the last 2 weeks. I couldn't be happier for everybody here. It's just been a great day, and I thank you all.
Thank you, Dave. Before I introduce this next ball player, I do want to highlight a ball player who's not here, because one of the reasons why this next man's base hit home run was so pivotal is because Derek Bell drew such an important walk just before him. I wish Derek were here to experience this, but he had a key walk in the playoffs against Oakland, and Roberto Alomar homered to help win that game. And then he drew a walk with one out in Game 2 of the World Series. And this next gentleman really had the pivotal at-bat to turn the entire World Series around. I thought Kirk Gibson had a big home run in the World Series in 1988, but I saw it topped by this young man who hit a two-run home run off Jeff Reardon to beat Atlanta, Ed Sprague.
This is what it's all about right here. Take all the money away, take all the fame, fortune. We play for that thing right over there. Everybody in here will tell you that. Throw all the numbers out the window. Winning's everything. And we did it. Number one right here.
Hope you are enjoying your front row seat on TSN. Live coverage of the Toronto Blue Jays Parade of Champions from the Skydome. I'm Paul Romanov with Michael Landsberg, Teresa Hergert, Gino Retta, and a cast of thousands.
I used to fantasize and dream that it would be the last game of the World Series. I would be on the hill, and the ball would be hit to me, and I would be responsible for the final out and winning a World Series. And I'll be darned if it didn't come true for Mike Timlin. Right here, Mike.
My heart's beating just as fast as it was when I was standing on the hill. First of all, I'd like to thank God just to let me be associated with all these guys out here and bringing my beautiful fiance to me. Another good part, we're all celebrating up here, but it's her birthday today, so I'm proud of her about that. I'm just happy that all you guys supported us through the whole year. You guys are the best. And I'm glad Otis Nixon bunted and it came to me, and I got to throw it to that man right over there smiling real big. Thanks for all the support, and we're number one this year right there.
Thank you, Mike. I think the concentration has rightfully been on the months of September and October. But this next young pitcher who had some arm problems this year, I remember in April and May, started out 4-0, and those were 4 wins that helped the Blue Jays win a World Series. Ladies and gentlemen, a nice hand for young pitcher Pat Henkin.
This has just been a great moment for me. It's just an honor to be up here and to play with these guys like Dave Winfield. I mean, just Hall of Famer. I'd like to thank the organization, all the fans, my fiancée, Darlene, and it's just such an honor for me to be up here. I met some really nice guys and got some real good friends. Thank you.
Jerry was mentioning earlier about Derek Bell not being here today, and also probably conspicuous by their, easy for you to say, Tom, their absence are Rance Mullenix, who had to get back to Texas because of very serious illness in the family. And Dwayne Ward, who is winging toward Tokyo at this hour to go over on a tour with some Major League players over there. We know that you would like to have seen them up here. I know that as things have evolved, they would love to have been here. This young man is here, and he probably represents future championships for this organization. Third baseman Tom Quinlan. Tommy, come on up.
I'd just like to thank the organization for, calling me up in late August and have the great opportunity to play with these guys. And when I did get called up, though, all I heard about was how the fans in Toronto were very quiet, didn't cheer very loud. But you've proved everybody wrong. You're the greatest fans in the world.
Thank you, Tom. This next left-handed pitcher, I can vividly recall when I first saw him pitch in a Blue Jays uniform. It was back at Exhibition Stadium in a Pearson Cup game against Montreal. At that time, he was in the minor leagues. He was recovering from a number of injuries and surgeries. And then what I remember most after that was the last game of the World Series when Otis Nixon was at first base, 5 for 5, stealing bases. And this gentleman tied him up in knots to the point when he finally tried to steal second, Pat Borders threw him out. And the reason for it, the reason that Pat was able to throw him out was because David Wells wouldn't let him steal second base. David Wells, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank each and every one of these fans out here. I early in the year doubted you guys, said some things in the papers I shouldn't have said, and you guys proved me wrong in the biggest way. And for me, I apologize in a big way because you guys are the greatest in the world. I'd also like to thank the organization, Cito, and the rest of the guys for giving me an opportunity to pitch in a World Series, and most of all, my wife, who gave birth to my 8-month-old son earlier in the year, and he's up there somewhere waving at you guys. So thank you very much, and hope we can bring one back next year. Thank you.
I'm going to ask these next two gentlemen to come up in tandem, if they might. We'll get them both up to say hello. We're talking about the medical corps for this team, and you hear about some of the injuries. A lot of these guys play with injuries that you never hear about. And the next two gentlemen are entrusted with keeping them game ready as much as possible. Our head trainer, Tommy Craig, and assistant trainer, Brent Andrews. Gentlemen, come on up. They said that there are no Canadians on the Blue Jays team this year. Well, I submit to you that Mr. Andrews here is from Calgary. Great season, huh?
Outstanding. And we had a lot of injuries over the last 2 years, but I think we're feeling about as good as we felt in a long time today.
Well, we got a lot of time to get well now. Tommy Craig, I'll translate for you, Tommy. Tommy comes from down in North Carolina, kind of talks like this. What a great season, huh?
Couldn't have been better, Tom. I thank you. I want to thank the organization, my wife and family, and all these guys sitting back here on this stage, because this is the greatest moment of my life right here, and I hope we have many more. Thank you.
There we go. Tommy Craig, Brent Andrews.
This next ball player has put a lifetime into his career. He did not experience postseason play until last year when he became a Blue Jay. And I think when you ask yourself, who do you want up with the bases loaded, you'd say Pat Tabler, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. I'd just like to thank my family for all their love and patience and happiness, the organization, Pat Gillick, Paul Beeston, Cito Gaston. It's been one hell of a ride. I love you all. Thank you to my teammates. I love all of you, the family out here. God bless Canada, and God bless the Toronto Blue Jays. Thank you.
Let's get our clubhouse man, Jeff Ross, up to say hello. Jeff? You've run out in these championship celebrations and came away the other day with sore ribs. How you feeling now?
Oh, I feel great. The pain's over with being here, and I've been here since the beginning, day one, and it's been a great feeling to finally win this one.
All right, all the best to you, Jeff. Looking forward to spring training. Jeff Ross, ladies and gentlemen.
When we talk about this next pitcher, what comes to mind is like father, like son. This gentleman had a great season, but I know he would be the first to tell you with his 3 2/3 innings of scoreless relief in the World Series, he had a greater postseason. Ladies and gentlemen, how about a nice hand for Todd Stottlemyre?
First of all, I wouldn't leave her out, but I'm going to wait to thank my wife when I get home tonight. Canada not only has the best team in the world, but we got the best damn fans in the world. Thank you.
Let's get Mr. Ian Duff, a Torontonian, up here to say hello. Ian, come on up if you would, please, sir. Now, let me tell you, not one of the high-profile guys, but maybe the toughest assignment in the whole scheme of things here, and that's to kind of placate the losers over here in this visitors clubhouse when they come in and the Blue Jays beat them. Kind of a long season for some of those guys, huh?
Well, I've been here since day one, and I've had 3 celebrations in my clubhouse 3 different times. Finally, we got to do it to them. We're number 1 now.
There you go, Ian Duff.
One thing that fans really have difficulty appreciating are the Blue Jays coaches, the people who put in so much time and effort to make a happening like this occur. And one of those coaches has not only been to a World Series, he's won an MVP award because in his first 2 at-bats, he hit 2 home runs. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Gene Tennis.
I'd just like to thank the organization for giving me an opportunity to get back in the big leagues as a coach. I'd like to thank all these players because I know what it takes to get to the World Series and what it takes to win one. I'm very fortunate this was my 5th one. I know the hard work that these kids put in from spring training and the dedication that it takes to win. And I'd like to congratulate all those guys right here behind me. I'd like to congratulate the coaching staff, the work that they've done all year. Also like to take a minute to tell Cito Gaston the work that he's done. It's a pleasure working for a guy like Cito Gaston. He lets you do anything you want. I mean, basically, he lets you run everything. The organization, congratulations on your first one, and I hope it's just one of many. I want to thank all you fans. Without you people, it makes the job easier down here for these guys playing. Thank you very much.
Hope you're enjoying live coverage of the Toronto Blue Jays World Series celebration from the Sky Dome on TSN.
You know, you have a job in O2 if you want it. You can still get back here and be a part of it. Want to get this next young man just to get up and give a wave right here because that's what he requested to do. But one of the hard workers, you never hear too much out of him. He's a batting practice pitcher and coach, and I'm talking about Jesus Figueroa right there, one of the fine young gentlemen. There you go, Jesus. Right beside him is our pitching coach, Galen Cisco, ladies and gentlemen. Galen, come on up here.
First of all, I'd like to thank the organization, the Toronto Blue Jays, and my wife for helping me make all those tough decisions. I think that I had probably the best pitching staff this year as I've ever had in 21 years of coaching. I think they're all great. And I'm sorry if we made anybody nervous during the playoffs and World Series. Thank you very much.
There you go, Galen.
One of the real joys for anybody is to see someone work extremely hard and then have everything culminate in one game, one series. This next ball player was in the Blue Jays minor league system for 6 years, 6 long years. He started out as a third baseman, then he was a first baseman, and then he was a catcher. And now, after what you've seen in the postseason, you can say MVP, MVP. Pat Borders, ladies and gentlemen.
That was heading for Evergreen, deep to left field, near the pole, and a home run. Pat Borders puts the Blue Jays on the board with a home run on Tom Glavine, just fair down the left
We came
field
up a little
line.
bit short in 1991. And I think it's because of 2 players we attained over the winter. And you say MVP, you say most valuable player. These 2 guys helped us more on the bench and in the locker room before and after the games than anyone could help us on the field. I'm talking about Jack Morris and Dave Winfield. Those 2 right there should be the MVP of the World Series, not me. Thank you, fans, for cheering. We'll see you next year. We'll repeat it again.
Sully. If anybody around here has seen a white-tailed deer, tell him just to stand pat, because Sully will be there in a day or so. Our bullpen coach, John Sullivan. Sully?
Thank you, Tom. I'd just like to thank my family and everybody up here on this stage, I guess you would call it, for the great job they did this year. After 34 years, I finally got here. Thanks.
John Sullivan.
I think just seeing John Sullivan tells you how much everybody on this stage appreciates what's happening here today. This next gentleman appreciates it as well, and he made some fast friends here in Toronto over the last month and a half. He's someone who had 2 great homecomings. His first great homecoming was when he went back to Kansas City and he beat the Royals. That was his first one. His second homecoming was when he went back to New York City and he beat the New York Yankees. His third memorable homecoming, if you will, was just a couple of days ago in Atlanta, Georgia, when he helped beat the Atlanta Braves. A lot of you will forever remember wearing cone heads here at the Sky Dome for David Cone.
first thing I should say is thank you to Mr. Gillick for getting me over here. It was like I was hitchhiking on the side of the road and got a ride to the World Series. Unbelievable. Secondly, although it may be true that people on this stage are either American or Latin American, we still feel the pride of Canada. We see the flags. You don't have to be Canadian to feel that pride. Don't ever change. Thank you very much.
Rich, come on up here. Rich Hacker, third base coach Rich Hacker. Got to wave them home to a World's Championship, Rich.
Thank you, Tom. I'd just like to thank the organization for the opportunity to be here the last 2 years. I don't think there's an organization in professional baseball more dedicated to putting a winning product on the field. And you fans, 2 years in a row, 4 million fans, you're the best. And I'd also like to thank my family for being here today, and happy my kids are here with me. And to the players for what they did this year, I don't know how I could ever top this year for myself personally. They worked hard, they deserved it, just as you fans have worked hard and deserved it. Thank you again.
Thank you, Rich. I'll make this short and sweet. In 1985, he came up in July, and he helped the Blue Jays to their first division title. And in 1992, he helped close down a World Series championship. Number 50, Tom Henke.
I just have to thank God for giving me the ability to participate on this great team. I want to thank my family, my beautiful wife, Kathy, my kids who are sitting at home probably watching this on TV, all my friends here in Canada and in the States. I got to thank the organization for getting me over here from Texas. I also got to thank all the great players that are here. This is the greatest team I've ever played on in my life. And I want to thank the fans especially, because without the fans, I don't think we'd have been able to do it. It was your support that carried us through, and I want to thank you all very much. Thank you.
Very soon there's going to be an expansion draft, and there will be 2 more Major League Baseball teams. 16 years ago, the Blue Jays and the Seattle Mariners became the new kids on the block in Major League Baseball. The Blue Jays selected as their very first player in that draft back in 1976, and now he's back here as a coach, Bob Baylor. Bobby, come on up. The first Blue Jay, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks, Tom. Believe me, it was 16 years ago, because everybody that recognized me around Toronto now has gray hair like me, so it was 16 years ago. 16 years ago, I rode in the parade. The Grey Cup Parade is the first Blue Jay, and there was people out there supporting us then. They supported us through all those 100 lost seasons, as Alfredo and Dave Steve can attest to, and look at you now, you're still supporting us world champions. I'd like to thank everybody involved with this. The trophy's beautiful, and maybe again next year. Thank you.
Well, who knows? Maybe again next year, but this year for sure. In a few moments, they'll be unfurling that banner to commemorate the World Series victory.
Had some arm problems and was probably this close to being out of baseball. But he fought back. He was the Rookie Pitcher of the Year here in Toronto in 1986. And now he's part of the world champion Toronto Blue Jays. And that great bullpen, I introduce to you Mark Eichhorn.
First of all, I'd like to thank God for this opportunity. I'd like to thank my wife and the family for all the support. This is a very special moment for me. I was with the organization for 10 years, then I went away for a few years, and I probably won't see a lot of these guys. We won't see a lot of each other, and this is, without a doubt, the most exciting moment in my life in baseball. And this year, something happened when I was with the California Angels, really put life in perspective, was a bus crash where a lot of my friends could have died. And Sully, I'm taking after Sully here, but it really put life into perspective. And just to be here in the World Series, it just is something that I'll cherish forever. Thanks, guys. Thanks to the Toronto Blue Jay organization.
Let's get the hitting coach up here, the guy that kept them fine-tuned all season long, Larry Heisel, the hitting instructor. Come on up, Larry. Best news of all, no BP tomorrow.
Sure is. Tom, I'd like to make two quick statements to 25 of the best players I've ever been associated with. In 92 men, a job very well done. Let's do it again in 93.
Well, there.
Ladies and gentlemen, we had another first here in 1992. The Blue Jays had their first ever 20-game winner. And down in Atlanta for yet another World Series. I'm sure the Braves organization and their fans were not happy to see a young man's sign that said, "Jack is back." Ladies and gentlemen, 21-game winner and a real pivotal reason why the Blue Jays are celebrating this today. I give you Jack Morris.
Somehow I feel like I'm the luckiest guy here because this isn't my first time doing this thing. But the older you get, the harder it is to continually work. And you appreciate more and more what's come your way in this game. I think my teammates will agree when they say I think Jack Morris is a bottom line kind of guy. And what I'd like to do is thank you fans. There's been a lot of controversy about the amount of noise you make, but there's one thing that's very clear. You've supported this organization 2 years in a row with the best attendance in the game, and that attendance has been able to purchase and assemble a team that is worthy of world championships. I thank you for that. Now again, for my teammates, I just want to let them know that how hard a work a moment like this will always be remembered. I've been here before, and it seems like no matter how many I've been through, and I've only been through 3, and I'd like to be through a couple more, but you always remember these moments. I quoted a little poem for them in spring training, and I've changed it a little bit so all of you can hear it. The poem goes like this: roses are red, violets are blue. The Twins were champs in '91, and the Jays are champs in '92. Thank you.
The multi-dimensional Jack Morris. Pitcher, rancher, poet. Beautifully done. Another of the behind-the-scenes individuals up here, and a lot of these guys will be happy to see the last of him for some months to come. He is their strength and conditioning coach, and early on in spring training they dubbed him Saddam, to give you an idea of what they think about Mr. Rick Knox. Rick, come on up here.
Well, I just want to say one thing that's very clear. This year, this team, without a shadow of a doubt, showed me heart and character, both on and off the field. Starting back at spring training, even before spring training, men like Jimmy Key and Todd Stonemeyer got in touch with me in the workout early on. And I want to thank those men for that hard work. That's why we have this championship here. I also want to thank all the fans of Canada, because you showed the heart to support us every single day. Thank you.
Sometimes when you get to a situation like this and you're an athlete and you cannot participate, that hurts. Especially when you've been to a World Series before and you know that you could make a contribution, God willing. Well, this gentleman has had arm problems, and to top it off, he got a little dizzy along the way, but he's a great citizen in the clubhouse, someone who's been here a long time. I'd like to have him come up and say a word to you. Pitcher Ken Daly, ladies and gentlemen.
I'd just like to say I've been involved with some good fans, some good ball clubs, but I've never had the opportunity to be associated with the best. Fellas, thank you and God bless.
Ken Daly. We're so fortunate with a team like the Blue Jays when they do it with homegrowns to such a great extent. We have had the good fortune of literally watching this young man grow up on the job. He comes from Huntsville, Alabama. I can remember 1984 when the club was just about to start the season and playing the final tune-up game in Portland, Oregon. They had told him, you go back to Florida, you don't figure in. They played the game. They got on the phone. They said, get back out to Seattle, you do figure in. He made his debut, bases loaded. Rod Carew at the plate in Anaheim, California, got him out of a jam. And when you think about it, he got him out of a couple of jams here in postseason 1992. Left-hander Jimmy Key.
We finally did it, and sorry it took so long, but here it is. Right here.
This is what we worked on. Everybody said everything already, how great you guys are. I think the fans have been here since I've been here in '84. You know, you've gotten better, like Steve said, and you're great. One thing I would like to do is everybody has said thank you to their wives. I would like the wives to stand up and have you cheer our wives. Stand up, please. We're fortunate because we get to come out to the ballpark every day and play in front of you people, and you're cheering us all the time. But these are the women behind the scenes that do the dirty work. They do all the hard stuff. We get to have all the fun. So thank all of you. I'd just like to say one last thing. I don't know what's going to happen this winter. My ears are open, like I said in the past. Whatever happens, happens, but I want you to know that I've enjoyed every day that I've been here. Thank you very much.
Jimmy Key.
When you talk about a World Series, you really talk about 16 years with everybody contributing. And this next gentleman started on the grounds crew, worked in the ticket office, and has literally worked himself right up to the point where, along with Pat Gillick, he brings you the players that you're cheering for here today. And I'd like to bring up a great friend and gentleman, the Assistant General Manager of the Toronto Blue Jays, Mr. Gord Ash.
Thanks, Jerry. I was born in this city, I was raised in this city, and to be part of a World Series in this city is truly remarkable. I also want to pay some tribute to some other champions here today. They're seated up in the baseball press box. This is the front office staff of the Blue Jays. Stand up and receive some applause for the people here. You've done a great job behind the scenes as well. We're going to try our best to put a club together that can do this again in '93, and we'll see you back here then. Thank you.
The great thing about the great game of baseball is that it is day-to-day. It is an armchair manager's paradise. It is a second-guesser's paradise. But if you're sitting in the dugout and you've got the big bag of managerial rocks on your shoulders, it might be the loneliest job in the world as well. This guy took this team over a few years ago and does not have to take a back seat to anybody in the game anywhere. He is the manager of the world champs, Cito Gaston. Cito.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank God, my family, and especially these guys right here. They did it. From day one in Detroit, if you could have seen their faces and how determined they were to be sitting on this stage today, you would know what I'm talking about. And they never quit. They did it all year. And I'm so proud of you guys. I swear, be proud of yourself because you're great. And thanks for everything. I really mean that. I really do. And I guess I get a little emotional sometimes, but I've had some great players here. I've had some great people here to play this game, and there's a lot of them still here. But this is probably the most determined team I've ever had here to be sitting on this stage, and they did it all. These guys. I think there's a lot of people you'd like to think. I think they know who they are. But most of all, we'd like to thank you fans, because without your support, we could not have put this type of team on the field. And Jimmy Key said it best. Thank all your wife. Let's do it again. Thanks.
I think it is only fitting that we save the best for last, and if you're 40 or over, you're going to love this guy. This Sky Dome is his Winfield of dreams, ladies and gentlemen, Dave Winfield.
Let's hear noise. Winfield wants noise. All right. All right. All right.
Let me just take one moment to try to summarize everything that these guys feel today. It's really very hard to put into words. The best thing I can say, it's incredible. They asked me to come up last because, of course, I'm the oldest guy on the team, but as you can see, age doesn't mean a damn thing. If you can do it. All right. Let me say, it seems to me that today is about two things. It's about celebration and it's about giving thanks. We're all going to celebrate. We've had a fantastic celebration from when we won this thing in Atlanta to the streets of Toronto to this parade and to this fantastic reception here. I have to thank God for giving me the ability that I have and steering me in the direction of playing baseball, professional baseball. I've done it for 20 years. Every year hasn't been good. I've probably gone through some of the worst years that anybody can endure in this sport, and I've now witnessed and been through one of the best, and that's 1992. Next, let me thank once again each and every one of our wives or girlfriends down in the front row. First of all, we get the excitement of you guys at the night, at the game, and then later at night we get the excitement of going back with them. Now, also, the Blue Jay organization, you've been great. You really have. The front office staff and the people behind the scenes, you have made this an enjoyable year. Thank you very much. To each and every one of these players, you guys have made this a special year for me. This has been the greatest year of my baseball career. I've never won a championship at this level. You helped bring that about. You guys have been fun in the locker room. After the games, you're the best bunch of guys I could ever ask to play with. I want to thank everybody. This has been beautiful. We hope to do it again. But I'll leave you with one last thing. If you'll all turn around, right above the Jumbotron, unveil 1992 World Champions, Toronto Blue Jays. Stand up. Give them an applause. We want noise. I love you. You're great.
Any major purchase involves a leap of faith. Buy a Nissan and it doesn't have to. You're protected by the Nissan Satisfaction Commitment. The most comprehensive customer care program in Canada. It comes at no extra cost and has no deductibles. Because at Nissan, we believe warranties should protect the people who drive the cars, not the people who make them. Nissan, built for the human race.
Reserve a room at any choice hotel like Quality, Comfort, Clarion, and Sleep, and get this fabulous coupon book absolutely free. You'll save at places like Alamo Rent-A-Car, Red Lobster, and theme parks, a value of over $1,000. So call and reserve your room today.
Bye-bye.
Vanna White not included. Oh. Call 1-800-4CHOICE to reserve your room. Coupon book supplies are limited, so call today.
Under Siege. Hold on to your seats. This is the best action movie this year. Seagal explodes on screen as the new king of action. Steven Seagal, Under Siege. Now playing at a theater near you.
TSN takes you courtside for great NBA exhibition action, featuring the Cleveland Cavaliers and the New Jersey Nets. The Naismith Challenge from the Ottawa Civic Center, live Wednesday, 7:30 Eastern, right here on Real TV, TSN.
Now joining us back here is Robbie Alomar. Robbie, unbelievable. The crowd is telling you how proud they are. I guess you must be feeling very proud as well.
Well, they feel proud, and we feel real proud, too. This has been an exciting year for us. I think so. We stayed from the beginning that we're going to go all the way, and we did. And they deserved a World Series, and we gave them a World Series.
You came over to the Toronto Blue Jays thinking, what is this whole new city about? New fans, new setting. I have no idea what's going on. Obviously, that was the greatest move of your life.
Oh, yeah. When I came from San Diego, I don't know where I was going, but I knew I was going to a winning team. And here I am in a winning team, having a lot of fun.
Did it awfully dramatically, Dave Winfield, that two-run double. Could you have picked a better hero on this team, do you think?
Well, I think so. No, it's no hero. Everybody was a hero here in this team, and I was so glad about Winfield getting that RBI because you never know where he's going to be next year. I hope he'll be with us next year, but I'm real glad because he's been want to win a World Series for 20 years, and he did this year.
He did that, Robbie, and you were a big part of that. Congratulations to you and the entire team.
Thank you, Gino.
Robbie Alomar is certainly going to enjoy the off-season. Let's take you back upstairs right now.
All right, thanks a lot, Gino. A couple of interesting things coming out of the ceremonies. If you want to read between the lines, listening to the various people talking, David Cohn said, never change. Does that mean don't change, I won't be back, or don't change, I'm looking forward to coming back? And also, I thought it was interesting that Jimmy Key said, no matter what happens in the off-season, I've enjoyed all my time here. Will Jimmy Key be back? He, of course, along with 10 other Toronto Blue Jays, is a free agent and could be with another team next year. Dave Winfield is a free agent for that matter. There's some interesting comments I guess you want to read between the lines, and you likely won't have to read between the lines over the course of the next weeks and months because there will be lots and lots of writing and lots of speculation about the future of this team. You also heard many people saying they want to do it all again next year. Lots more still to come from the Sky Dome. We'll be right back.
Travelers 50 and over save 30% at choice hotels like Quality, Comfort, Clarion, and Sleep.
After a life like
Time out, Evil. Travelers 50 and over also get a free coupon book worth over $1,000 at places like Alamo, Rent-A-Car, Red Lobster, and theme parks. Okay, Evil, from the top.
After a life like mine, that's about the biggest thrill I could take.
Save 30% if you're 50 or over and get a free coupon book. Call 1-800-4CHOICE and reserve your room today.
You know there's real magic in Diet Pepsi. It's got that special aha ingredient. You got the right one, baby. Hey. Okay, girls. Now, what's that magic ingredient?
With 100% uh-huh.
First, the Blue Jays captured the American League pennant. Then they claimed the crown of world champions. The champion Blue Jays were led by their unflappable superstars. There you go. And unexpected heroes. Home run at spring! As they rose to the top of the baseball world. All the glorious action, excitement, and stories of the playoffs and Canada's first fall classic are showcased in the official 1992 World Series video. This remarkable video will be delivered to your home to enjoy again and again. To order for $24.98 plus tax and $4 shipping, use your credit card and call 1-800-551-7300. That's 1-800-551-7300. Blue Jays fans, let the celebration go on. Call 1-800-551-7300.
Well, as you can see, there have been a few banner years for Toronto baseball fans, but none any bigger than this one. And I guess the first one always the most fantastic for any organization. The Toronto Blue Jays successful their first time in the World Series. Only one other team has done that. Actually, a number of other teams have. The last team to do it, though, the New York Mets, 1969, a long time ago. Something we were talking about just a few moments ago, the relationship between this team and the fans, it really has evolved over the years.
Well, I think over the years, especially not so much in the early years, but when the team started to get good, you really didn't feel a great sense of community, a great sense of warmth between the players and the fans, and you felt almost as though their time here was just a matter of time before they leave. But now I really do sense a totally different feeling, and I think it changed in a large part the day that Joe Carter and Robbie Alomar came to the Toronto Blue Jays, and now much of the things that you heard on the stage you would hear at any situation like this when a team's won a World Series. But I really felt today like many of them were genuine, like these players really appreciated the support in the city they played in and the country they played in as well.
I agree. I really do feel that what they meant was they really were glad that they had brought this to Canada so everyone could enjoy it here. I think also that I noticed myself the relationship changing between the players and the people who have covered them for the years. I had always heard when I was coming to Toronto that it was very, very tough to deal with the Toronto Blue Jays. But then, like you said, when Carter came here and Alomar came here, it seemed like the whole mood of the team began to swing, and they became a lot more approachable to us, because really the media are the people that bring the players into the living rooms of the people at home, who ultimately are the fans and buy the tickets. And I saw a genuine swing in the last couple of years that I've been here.
To keep it in perspective, though, I mean, it's pretty easy to be happy and cordial when you're winning.
Absolutely, but there was a time, perhaps in 1985, for instance, when the team was winning as well, when it was, as a reporter, and you can certainly speak for this, to come down and cover the team was not as much fun in 1985 as it was in 1992. Jack Morris made an interesting point as well. You know, he said, we thank you fans, because there's a monetary situation here. He says, we thank you fans for supporting the team so they could, to some extent, go out and buy the players. And, you know, players cost money, and 4 million fans can certainly pay.
I don't think there is any one individual who had a greater impact in this franchise, certainly this year, than Dave Winfield. He is standing by with Gino Reda.
Thanks very much, Paul. And yes, Dave Winfield is with me right now. And Dave, the few fans that have hung around are still got the big Dave Winfield signs up. This must just be one of the proudest moments of your life.
It is. I mean, the outpouring of love and affection people have for this team was very apparent. I mean, from the parade and the reception here at the Dome, it's beautiful. Man, I'm almost as tired as I was after the game the other day, but this has been great.
This city really did welcome you with open arms. As soon as you came in, they quickly embraced you. If any other player had said something like you said about the fact that the town was maybe just a little bit too quiet, they might have been received differently, but when you said it, the fans took it to heart and said, then if that's key, we're going to do it for them.
Yeah, they did. You know, I mean, I just made an observation, and there was a lot of comment about it, but people reacted. They responded, and I think there was that relationship between how well we did and how much they cheered us on. And believe me, the other teams commented on, it was a little intimidating for them. They were not used to the response, but it was very positive, and it was all in fun and support of their team, and they helped carry us, so they deserve a lot of credit too, you know.
So you're standing at the plate, Robbie Alomar's at first, Devon White's on second, you're thinking, I can do this. All my life I've dreamt about that. Is that the kind of moment that as a pro ball player you think, I would just love to have this? Because up until this point, that was the one thing missing in your career, a Hall of Fame career, but that was still missing.
Yeah, to a large degree. You don't want to put extra pressure on yourself, but you certainly wanted to. I wanted to capitalize long before then. I wanted to have a real good series. It was okay, and but I came up with the men on base, extra innings, game on the line, boom, I got that hit. You don't know what kind of catharsis that was, the relief. I was happy for us. The guys were ecstatic. I knew that put the nail in the Braves' coffin, and we were going to win after that.
Let's talk about where we go from here. Obviously, the ball now is in the Blue Jays' court where they decide to offer you arbitration. Have they spoken to you at all?
No, I mean, we'll talk. I mean, they're good business people, and things will work out one way or another. I have good feelings about the city. You know, this year has been the top year in my career, so if something's going to be, it will be.
I'm sure the Blue Jay fans would love to have you back next year.
All right.
Dave Winfield, congratulations.
Pleasure.
Probably not a better or more likely hero in all of Major League Baseball. Dave Winfield driving in the winning runs for the Blue Jays, leading them to the 1992 World Series title. Let's go back upstairs.
Dave Winfield, 5 for 22 in the World Series, but his legacy will be that double in the 6th game. We'll be right back.
This month at Golden Griddle, we've got a home-style dinner deal for only $4.99. Roast turkey, mashed potatoes, gravy, cranberry sauce, stuffing, vegetable, and roll, only $4.99.
Order the turkey dinner, and we'll sweeten the deal with a piece of pie for just 99 cents.
Some say the Mississippi Delta is the home of the blues.
Well, I'm going down the road and stop at Fannie Mae.
Others say Chicago.
Gonna tell Fannie what I heard. A boyfriend said, don't start me talking. I'll tell everything.
But really, you'll find some cool blues right in your own
I'm gonna
backyard.
break up this signal.
Honest and true. You bet it's blues.
Under Siege. Hold on to your seats. This is the best action movie this year. Seagal explodes on screen as the new king of action. Steven Seagal, Under Siege. Now playing at a theater near you.
The 1992 Parade of Champions brought to you by Labatt Blue. Honest and true. You bet it's blue. By Nissan. Built for the human race. And Choice Hotels, who congratulate the Blue Jays on their historic World Championship. And your local bottler of Diet Pepsi and caffeine-free Diet Pepsi. Diet Pepsi, you got the right one, baby. Uh-huh. The 1992 banner hanging up alongside the other ones. That one a little bit of a deeper shade of blue, and certainly the most significant one for the Toronto Blue Jays being champions. The Blue Jays, the third expansion team to pick up a World Series championship. The Toronto Blue Jays, of course, doing an excellent job, as did the Kansas City Royals before them, another expansion franchise to pick up a World Series championship. But it's been an incredible 16 years when you think back on it, and when you think back again to that snowy day in 1977 when this team started it all. They have come a long way, and the people in the front office are to be congratulated for putting together such an outstanding team. What kind of team they're able to put together next year? Of course, a question that remains to be answered, a question that will be asked time and time again throughout the offseason. Again, we heard some of the players talking during the ceremonies here. David Cohn, you wonder whether or not he will be back next year. You wonder the same thing about mainstays like Jimmy Key and Tom Henke. No question, the problems of victory are much more agreeable than those of defeat, but they are certainly no less difficult. So long for now.